my live.
No, we started with nothing in humble beginnings. They wanna fuck with me now cause I'm winning. Chasing this chicken cause I'm on a mission. I'm known for get money and standing on business. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know how we living. Come from the struggle, got lost in the hustle. Straight out the mud, no, I compliment couples. Chasing big bills just to keep this shit subtle. You ain't on my team if you wasn't in the huddle. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know that I'm with it. I fit the description, I'm the definition. I'm what they prescribe like she seen a physician. She wanna ride cause she seen how we getting it. Big old booty, she my passenger princess. She like to argue, she don't like to listen. She bougie and toxic, she fine and she picky. Pretty and sedated, she get recognition. Matching nails and toes, man, she always French tip 'em. Parking lot pimping when we in the city. Don't ask her about twine, she twerk on the engine. She eat the dick in the car cause it's tinted. She pay me attention like she get commission. Pimpin' CEO, so I give her the business. She ride on the dick like she doing some fitness. She make the dick disappear like she magician. She like to swallow, man, she love when I finish. Having motion, man, you know I got plenty. Bitches choosing cause they know that I'm winning. See some thousands, now I'm after some millions. So all my houses come with chandelier ceilings. Pillow talking, man, that shit just ain't in me. Keep it pimpin', I can't do no pretending. Jealous hearted, man, you know I ain't with it. Cuffin' hoes, I can't do no commit. No, we started with nothing in humble beginnings. They wanna fuck with me now cause I'm winning. Chasing this chicken cause I'm on a mission. I'm known for get money and standing on business. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know how we living. Come from the struggle, got lost in the hustle. Straight out the mud, no, I compliment couples. Chasing big bills just to keep this shit subtle. You ain't on my team if you wasn't in the huddle. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know that I'm with it.
Oh, man. Double tap the screen, chat. Double tap the screen. We locked, chat. Are we locked, man? What going on? Double tap the screen. The Weekenders are in the building, man. Weekend Warriors, we in intro mode. I'm a saint, but I sin. I checked in the game to win. I left, she loving me again. I let her cry out the bins and they say time heal. Mine still felt like it was yesterday. How we're moving fast, probably too fast to even catch the play. Spencer night, she pack a bag right to me, just getting gas. Coming back, I want it bad. I'ma touch it first, eat it last, it's temporary. Holly damn emotion said it's temporary. My pain deeper than the ocean. Temporary feelings mixed with temporary pleasures. All these temporary moments and these temporary treasures. Temporary circumstances to temporary measures. Temporary friends and even temporary schedules. Temporary smiles and temporary goals. Temporary women sliding on temporary poles. Temporary comments and temporary trolls. I just pray that God bless me. Ain't no temporary souls. I'm a saint, but I sin. I checked in the game to win. I left, she loving me again. I let her cry out the bins and they say time heal. Mine still felt like it was yesterday. How we're moving fast, probably too fast to even catch the play. Spencer night, she pack a bag right to me, just getting gas. Coming back, I want it bad. I'ma touch it first, eat it last, it's temporary. Holly damn emotion said it's temporary. My pain deeper than the ocean. Oh, man, y'all locked, man. Do we got the Weekenders in the building? Drop them plugs in the comments. Drop them locks in the comments, chat. We got an action-packed episode, man. I need to know, chat, y'all ready? Y'all locked in or what, man?
Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube.
That's what it sound like.
Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, man. Double tap the screen, shut live out what we doing tonight, chat. Double tap the screen, shut live out what we doing tonight, chat. They saying escalation incoming. Trump big decision incoming. What will happen next? We got an action-packed episode for y'all, chat. We got an action-packed episode, but before we get started, we have to get to 100 likes. Everyone, stop what you're doing. double tap the screen or go to the top and hit the like button. We're also 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal, man. Chat, we got some miscellaneous clips. Also, we got reports coming out that they've revealed where the male G-spot is, and everybody that thought it was in the butt was wrong. So we're gonna cover that because that's crazy. That is crazy. Also, we have 1 pound of ground beef now costs more on average than federal minimum wage. 1 pound of ground beef now costs more than federal minimum wage. Also, we have Germany requiring all men aged 17 to 45. Now they have to get permission from the military before they leave the country for more than 3 months. Before they leave the country for more than 3 months, they have to get permission from the military. Also, Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, Claudia, she announced at the 89th Banking Convention in Cancun that cash payments, cash, money, pesos, USD, at gas stations and toll booths will be officially phased out. You will no longer be able to buy gas or pay your tolls with cash in Mexico. Coming up later on this year. So we'll cover that as well. We have the Army Chief of Staff, Randy George, saying that a madman is about to lead the great U.S. military into ruin. That was 1 hour after Hegseth let him go. What else do we have? Iran fired 23 ballistic missiles and 56 drones at the UAE today. Reports are coming out that the United States may leave NATO soon, citing that France, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, and Spain have finalized agreements, man. Finalized agreements. You know they've been restricting the airspace over there. Also, what are we saying? New York City spent $81,705 per homeless person last year. And the median American household earned $81,200 last year. So New York spent about $500 more per homeless person than the average U.S. median household income. I believe that is crazy, Chad. That's absolutely insane. In other news, we have the U.S. arresting the niece and grandniece of late Iranian commander Soleimani after the Secretary of State Marco Rubio revoked their green cards. Chad, do you think it's fair game for Rubio to revoke the green cards of Soleimani's niece and grandniece? Is that fair game, chat? Yes or no? Is that fair game? We got a couple long forms to get into. Tucker sat down with some priests. Also, what I have above me is going to show you how far AI has came. They got Harry Potter in a hood scenario. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Reports have came out. I don't know if they found the missing pilot from the downed plane. Have they found the final missing pilot from the downed plane, chat? We'll cover that as well. Also, Israel is reportedly creating a mini state in Argentina. A mini state of Israel in Argentina is what is being reported. Yeah, a F-15 fighter jet was shot down. 1 crew member was rescued and 1 was still missing. I'm asking, have they found their other crew member? Also, hold on, let me see, chat. Trump College executive order. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Okay, Trump did sign a college executive order for college sports, saying athletes can only transfer schools one time before they graduate without having to sit out a season. Athletes can only play up to 5 seasons in a 5-year window. So all of that super senior shit. Hold on, chat. What happened to the camera? Why is my camera going out, chat? That's crazy. Well, yeah, all of that super senior shit is over with, chat. All of that super senior shit is over with, man. All of that transferring after every season to go get a bigger bag, it looks like those games have come to an end. I'm trying to get the camera back up, chat. Hold on, man. What's going on? What's going on with the camera, chat? Hold on. Damn. Chat. I gotta get my camera back up, man. They got me off my mode, man. I was in intro mode, chat, and the camera cut out, man. What's going on? The hell? They trying to sabotage us already, chat. They trying to sabotage us already, man. All right, chat. Double tap the screen, shut the live out, chat. I'm getting the camera back up, man. I'm getting the camera back up. Hopefully. The hell is going on? This shit is crazy. Wow. This motherfucker really not charging, chat. This shit is crazy. It's really not charging, chat. This shit is crazy, man. Damn, chat, double tap the screen. This shit is really not charging, man. What the hell is going on? Wow. Wow, chat. All right, chat. You said Plug took one night off and forgot to operate. Nah, I ain't forget how to operate. My damn camera died. This shit is crazy, man. Hold on, chat. Damn. Damn, chat. It's all bad, chat. I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell I'm finna do, man. My damn device not charging and shit. Device not charging and shit, chat. All right, hold on. I know we got a solution for it, chat. Hold on. I got a solution for it, chat. Hold on. Bow. We just gonna do it like that for right now until I get my device charged. All right, yeah, we was talking about the college sports. We're gonna get into that, man. Let's get into it, chat. Everyone double tap the screen, shut the live out for me. I'm gonna try to get the camera back up. But I don't know if it's gonna work. All right, chat, let's get into this clip right here. This is a Harry Potter clip, man. This is where AI has gotten to today, chat. I don't know what we're gonna do over the next couple of days. I believe Grok released an update. Grok released an update to their AI generator, and this is the kind of crazy shit that's going on, chat.
Well, Harry Potter, this is where you go off on your own.
Where do I go, broski? This is just a normal train station.
You'll need to find platform 6-7, then take the Maybach Express to Dripwarts. Come along now. All you gotta do is run right at that wall and you'll end up where you need to be.
Type shit? Say on guard!
On guard!
He tried to go through the magic wall!
He wasn't. That was just a crackhead trying to steal your shit, okay?
Huh?
So what now?
Dobby is coming. He will get you there faster.
Get in.
This shit is crazy, Chad. They got Harry Potter glowed up. No way they making this kind of content, Chad. That's what's scary about this, Chad. When they say actors are gonna be out of jobs, they very may well be right on to something. I'm gonna have to watch this again, bro. What?
Run! That's Harry Potter. Are you really Harry Potter, my G?
Type shit, type shit.
Type shit. Type shit.
None of that, broski. We're all here on the Maybach Express for one reason and one reason only, and that's to go to Dripwarts, the School of Drip.
Harry Potter! They say you are the boy who dripped, are you not, broski?
Type shit, sir. Type shit. Type shit.
Type shit, indeed.
I heard he doesn't have parents.
What a loser.
Well, for your sakes, I hope the three of you are ready, as today is house sorting day. Snape will explain further. He's just moved here from Atlanta. There are 4 main houses.
Houses like Griffin Drippin'
We own this bitch, you hear?
and Drippin' Pup.
Morning Myrtle be morning tonight.
Where's the sorting hat?
Dobby is on it.
See, now you can kind of hear the voice. You can kind of hear the voice where it's sounding
It's way
like
weird.
AI at the end. They can get the voice better. They can get the voice better. Chat, everybody hit the like button. We got to get to 100 likes right quick. I'm working on getting my camera back out. Up.
That ass perfect, baby. I love the way you get it over the twerking, baby.
Yeah, this shit is crazy, chat. They just made a full 2-minute Harry Potter edit on some hood shit, bro. Like, this is where content is going, chat, whether we realize it or not, whether we want to believe it or not. That's why they're getting people to sign away their name, image, and likeness. So they don't need the physical actor to show up on the set. They can just create these realistic ass videos, man. This shit is crazy.
Well, Harry Potter, this is where you go off on your own.
Where do I go, broski?
Like right there at this part, see how the voices sound realistic right here? And then as we get on into the video, the voices started getting more automated, more AI sounding.
This is just a normal train station.
You'll need to find platform 6-7, then take the Maybach Express to Dripwarts. Come along now. All you gotta do is run right at that wall and you'll end up where you need to be.
Type shit? Say on guard!
On guard!
He tried to go through the magic wall!
He wasn't. That was just a crackhead trying to steal your shit, okay?
Huh?
So what now?
Dobby is coming. He will get you there faster.
Get in. Run! That's Harry Potter. Are you really Harry Potter, my G?
Type shit, type shit.
Type shit. Type shit.
None of that, broski. We're all here on the
Yeah, you said platform 6-7. Yes, that's the name of the episode. Hold on, chat. The name of the Harry Potter episode is actually about 6-7. I believe those are the prompts that they used to create this video. I believe 6-7 was in the prompt.
Maybach.
Look at his chain. It says 0 parents. They got Harry Potter with some diamond encrusted Cartier frames, man. The circle joints with a bust-down chain on that says 0 parents. Who the hell is that smoking? It's on Twitter. Who the hell is that smoking on the chain? He has a Versace zip-up on. Red and black joint.
Express for one reason and one reason only, and that's to go to Drip Watts, the school of drip.
Maybach music.
The Maybach Express, bruh. Bruh, like, they're appropriating so much black culture right here, bruh. And I'm not gonna lie, Chad, I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it, bruh. I'm definitely here for it, bruh.
And that's to go to Drip Watts, the school of drip.
Maybach music.
Look at him in the double cup, man, hogging the lane, bro. Double cupped up in the Maybach train track with a Celine hat on, hogging the lane, bro. And then he got it all pink like Sauce Walker, bro. Like, yeah, Essence, whoever made this was in their bag, bro. Watch how they cut. Watch how they cut him in.
One reason and one reason only, and that's to go to Drip Watts, the school of drip.
Yeah. Chad, I wish y'all could see my face right now. I gotta get my damn device charged, bruh. Snape, who the hell is little Snape? Then they got the Warlock, the Wizard in the purple Gucci gown, bruh.
Is that Harry Potter?
Bruh, did the bird have LV on it? Bro, they got a Louis Vuitton bird in this bitch, bruh. They were in their bag with the AI, bruh. Even the bird is LV, chat. Even the bird is LV, bruh. Even the bird is LV, chat. It's crazy.
Harry Potter! They say you are the boy who dripped, are you not?
The Gucci spell book.
Broski.
Type shit, sir. Type shit. Type shit.
Type shit, indeed.
I heard he doesn't have parents.
What a loser.
Well, for your sakes, I hope the three of you are ready, as today is house sorting day. Snape will explain further. He's just moved here from Atlanta. There are 4 main houses.
Houses like Griffin Drippin'.
We own this bitch, you hear?
And Drippin' Pup.
Morning Myrtle be morning tonight.
Where's the sorting hat? Dobby is on his way with it.
That ass perfect, baby. I love the way you get it over the twerking, baby.
That's crazy, Chad. Hey, Chad, rank that video edit, man. 1 to 10, Chad. Rank this video edit 1 to 10, man. 1 to 10, Chad. Look at David Lewis Laurent talking about you whack as fuck. David Lewis Laurent, hold my nuts, man. Shut your bitch ass up. Rank this, Chad. 1 to 10, rank it, man.
Where do I go, broski? This is just a normal train station.
You'll need to find platform 6, 7, then take the Maybach Express to Dripwarts. Come along now.
Man, you talking about this video been out 2 weeks? All right, James. Well, it's new to this channel, man. It's out today over here, man.
All you gotta do is run right at that wall and you'll end up where you need to be.
Type shit? Say on guard!
On guard!
He tried to go through the magic wall!
He wasn't. That was just a crackhead trying to steal your shit, okay?
Huh?
So what now?
Dobby is coming.
Crazy.
He will get you there faster.
Get in. Run! That's Harry Potter. Are you really Harry Potter, my G?
Type shit, type shit.
Type shit. Type shit.
None of that, broski. We're all here on the Maybach Express for one reason and one reason only, and that's to go to Drip Watts, the school of drip.
Watch how he hit the cone in that thing, Chad. Look at that Maybach. Come
tighten up,
on,
Jen. I'm
bruh.
gonna spaz on this bitch. I'm gonna
Come
go crazy.
on,
Nigga,
bro.
check this
Bus
out.
driver of the century.
Y'all. Hey.
Is that Harry Potter? They say you are the boy who dripped. Are you not, broski?
Type shit, sir. Type shit. Type shit.
Type shit, indeed.
I heard he doesn't have parents.
What a loser.
Well, for your sakes, I hope the three of
This
you are
shit
ready. As today is
crazy,
house
bruh.
sorting day. Snape will explain further. He's just moved here from Atlanta. There are 4 main houses.
Houses like Griffin dripping
We own this bitch, you hear?
and dripping
Got
pup.
that
Morning
purple,
Myrtle be
baby.
morning tonight.
Hey,
Where's the sorting
got
hat?
that
Dobby
purple,
is on
baby.
his way with it.
That ass perfect, baby. I love the way you get it over the turkey, baby.
Bruh, that shit is hard, bro. With the no cap on the no cap chain on the hat, bruh. A&A bag. Let's get into the news, chat. I thought that would bring y'all some joy on this good Saturday, chat. Everyone double tap the screen. Let's hit 200 likes right quick, chat. I got my cousin running to the store to try to grab me a damn charger. I got my cousin running to the store trying to grab me a damn charger so we can get the camera back up. Everybody hit the like button though, chat. Everybody hit the like button, man. Let me get us to the ad-free version.
There's no other way to say it. The war with Iran intensifies. Iran shoots down an F-15 fighter jet. U.S. rescue operations continue. Ceasefire.
Hold on, let's acknowledge the super chat, man. Lala comes in via super chat supporting the channel. Thank you, Lala. She says, welcome to Plug Nation. Hit the like button, chat. Please hit the like button and support the channel, man. Thank you, Lala. What's up, Laurie? What's up, Carlos?
Talks stall. Iranian missiles and drones inflict damage region-wide. In the aftermath of Attorney General Pam Bondi's firing, what is next for the Justice Department, the Epstein files, and foundering high-profile political prosecutions? We ask Jamie Raskin, top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee. The pictures from Artemis II, breathtaking. The crew is well and heading toward a historic trip around the far.
That's the thing, chat. Why are they giving us just fucking images like this, chat? Like, do we really think the world looks like that, chat? Why, when we look at Google Maps, right, they say those satellites are out of space. Why the fuck can we see an exact house? You can see damn near brick by brick from every house. But when we see images of the world, the shit looks artificial. It looks like CGI generated. Why can you show me the bricks on my house, but the cameras, which should be closer to seeing the world than it is my house, gives me some fabricated image? Why can't I see the real world? Why, when it comes to the real world, you give me CGI, but when I look up the fucking address, I can see brick by brick?
Our side of the moon. Hello everyone, I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Welcome to The Takeout. The Iran war commands our attention, and not just ours. Senior administration officials tell us President Trump's national security team has been with him at the White House. A fair amount of this day is with him now. The president's been monitoring the situation all day long, and here's why. Iranian forces shot down a U.S. F-15E fighter jet today. U.S. forces rescued one of the two.
That man said the boy doesn't understand the difference between space and airplane. Motherfucker, they call them satellite images. Where the fuck are the satellites at, man? It's called satellite imagery. Where the fuck are the satellites at? On the plane?
2 members of that crew. The search continues for the second member of that crew. Details are somewhat limited on the location and the means of these rescue missions. Also, 1 person died and 4 were injured when debris from an intercepted Iranian missile landed at a natural gas facility in Abu Dhabi. 2 fires at the facility have been contained, but significant damage was inflicted. Iran said it rejected a 48-hour ceasefire proposal that came from the U.S. Now, that report was produced by the Iranian media, so we will take it with a grain of salt. The Wall Street Journal reported that efforts to end the war through mediation in Pakistan or through the cooperation of other regional countries have hit a dead end. Kuwait sustained damage from Iranian attacks on an oil refinery and a desalination plant. Several blazes were being fought at that refinery, and the desalination plant, we are told, suffered material damage. Don't know how much, but it was described as material damage. Also, sirens warning of missiles or drones sounded in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. The Strait of Hormuz remains effectively closed with Iran. We're going to start tonight with Maryland Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin. He is the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, you heard me summarize what has been a very busy day in the region. Your reaction?
Well, it's a nightmare, obviously, that one of our planes was shot down, and we can only pray and hope for the missing servicemen. But, you know, this underscores the importance of our working with whatever other countries are willing to help to try to put an end to this quickly.
Yeah, what's crazy about that is Iran put a bounty on the one pilot that was not rescued at first. Iran put a very large bounty allegedly on that pirate, and they had armed civilians out looking for him. A lot of armed civilians. I mean, groups of dozens of men were out looking for this man in hopes to get that reward from the IRGC.
It's a lot easier to get into these wars in the Middle East than it is to get out of them. And that underscores the fundamental importance of following our Constitution, which requires Congress to declare war. It is not up to the president or the vice president or Tulsi Gabbard or anybody else in the executive branch. It's up to the representatives of the people, and we skipped over that step. The framers were intent that both the House and the Senate be involved to try to consider all of the many implications of war for the country.
Chat, we got to hit that next like goal. Everybody hit the like button right now. Double tap the screen or go to the top, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We go live every single night over here.
And so I certainly hope that we can find a way out of this. The president has declared the war over numerous times, and has said.
So also, yes, the president has declared the war over numerous times, but we have reports coming out. Let me find the guy, Shahil bin Epram. He's been covering the Middle East and the conflicts over the Middle East for a while. His name is academic_LA. This is his assumption and his take. I want to get you guys' opinions on his take right here. He says the IDF has informed the Israeli cabinet that the air war has reached the limits of its effectiveness in its current form of focusing on military targets. Ron Ben Yishai, Israel's premier military analyst, says Israel is considering two paths: gradual infrastructure degrading, the progressive destruction of bridges, power stations, and transport links to make the regime unable to provide basic services. The downside: it takes time, allows adaptation, and lets Iran continue to disrupt oil markets and striking Israel meanwhile. They also have the Dahia Doctrine, Ben Yishai's preferred recommendation. This involves pre-warning civilians to evacuate specific neighborhoods in Tehran, particularly those housing families of senior regime officials and Revolutionary Guard commanders, then completely flattening those areas from the air. He argues making senior IRGC commanders personally homeless and displaced would, in his view, make them far less willing to reject Trump's ceasefire offers. His opinion is neither of these options will work, but both are based on intentional and massive commitment of war crimes, chat. War crimes. So a lot of the people are saying, oh, we want free Iran, free Iran, free Iran. Well, it's looking like a free Iran is going to come with all of the bridges being blown the fuck up, all of the energy infrastructure being blown the fuck up, and just taking Iran back to the Stone Ages. So a free Iran might mean a Stone Aged Iran. And Is that a fair trade, chat? Is that a fair trade? For everyone who says that they want a free Iran, would you be willing to trade a Stone Age Iran for if it was free? Would you be willing to have Iran be free if it was put back into the Stone Ages? That's what it's looking like is going to happen.
That it was a success and so on, and yet the death count continues to go up every day.
The president said in his primetime address earlier this week, Congressman, I know you know this, but I want to remind the audience that the skies above Iran were effectively in possession of the United States and Israel. The downing of an F-15 is no small matter. That suggests otherwise.
Well, right. That would seem to be proof that there's not complete domination of the skies. In any event, dominating the air does not.
Who's been living underground for some time? Not civilians. Iranian civilians don't just live their life underground. Now, if you're talking about the military installations, you know that's debatable. But to say that a whole country has been living underground for quite some time, above ground doesn't really matter anymore, is crazy. Like, think about the quality of life change. That's one of the things that makes America a great destination or a place for people to come and lay their head. Like, what? It's the quality of life. If you have to live completely underground, the quality of life has went to shit.
Translate into regime change, and it does not translate into control on the ground in any.
Tracy Betts said, dude, shut up so we can hear. Hold my nuts, Tracy Betts, 9616. If you want to hear this man talk, go watch this shit on your own time. Right now, you tuned in to my shit. And when I want to pause this shit and talk, that's what I'm going to do, little Tracy. So how about this? I bet your ass don't know how to swipe up on the live.
Military historian or strategist, will explain that. It's not a complicated idea. You essentially can't bomb your way to victory. And I think that's why the president has been talking about sending over troops, but there's just not the support in the country for it. Congress never voted for this. We never went through a process of discussing what the reasons for the war are. And President Trump never identified the rationale for the war or the purpose and objectives of the war. And so there's just great uncertainty in terms of what exactly is happening and when and how the U.S. can get out.
The president today sent to Congress a budget request.
Chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard do you think it would be for the U.S. to get out of this war? On a scale of 1 to 10, I need to get y'all active in the chat. The chat moving slow. What the hell is going on? Are y'all asleep?
$1.5 trillion for the Defense Department, a massive increase. How do you believe congressional Democrats and even congressional Republicans will respond?
Well, that's staggering. And, given what's taking place with the war in Iran, which again is unauthorized and undeclared, it raises a whole host of questions as to what the president's plans are. So I think that we're going to need to return to constitutional government, both in terms of congressional exercise of the war powers and in terms of congressional control over the purse. But a $1.5 trillion budget-busting defense request is going to raise eyebrows all across Capitol Hill on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers.
What do you believe is the short-term future of the Justice Department, Congressman Raskin, now that Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General, has been fired?
Well, Bondi leaves the department in a state of complete wreckage. Thousands of DOJ employees were fired or quit because of the reign of lawlessness and corruption that she inaugurated there.
So, Chad, this is just some of the cuts that they want to make to get that $1.5 trillion defense budget. That is a 40% increase. It will be the largest increase since World War II. They want to cut the EPA budget by half, cut $10.7 billion for housing, $8.5 billion for K-12 programs, cancel $15 billion for clean energy, cut $2.5 billion for drinking water, eliminate $1.6 billion for youth job training, cut $3.5 billion from the Labor Department, $395 million for senior employment, $775 million in food assistance grants, eliminate National Endowment for Democracy, cut $5 billion for the National Institutes of Health, and eliminate low-income home energy assistance. Yeah, that's just some of the cuts that they're proposing making.
Many of the very best prosecutors were ousted because they had worked on the January 6th case, which was the largest criminal case in American history. Whoever comes in should go back and rehire those people. They were fired for no other reason that they worked on a case that they were assigned to. That's hundreds and hundreds of lawyers. And at the very least, the senator should be asking whether that would be on the agenda there. And at the same time, the Attorney General Bondi was involved centrally in a complete cover-up and blockade of information that was supposed to be released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. That federal enactment requires the Department of Justice.
Nah, those cuts are proposed for the $1.5 trillion defense budget Trump wants to do. Trump wants to increase our defense budget by 40%, and those are some of the proposed cuts to make sure that $1.5 trillion defense budget is fulfilled. Chat, everyone double tap the screen, shut the live out. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal. Let's hit that next like goal and keep the live rolling.
To turn over the entire file except for the redaction of victims' names. They failed to redact the victims' names, but they redacted a lot of names of conspirators and enablers and accomplices to the different crimes and withheld 3 million out of 6 million documents. So that's just an appalling performance.
So as of right now, Target Dog says, what does America profit from the war in Iran or Afghanistan or in Iraq? Right now, they're trying to propose this an energy dominance thing. It was supposed, remember, at first it was supposed to be, oh, we're going to free Iran. And I was the one telling all you motherfuckers, they don't care if Iran is free. Honestly. Y'all, everybody got mad at me. Plug, that's not it. Do you just want to help human life? I said, man, they don't give a fuck if them Iranians are free, man. Y'all thought I was capping. Yeah, no, they do want to free them. Remember, we was getting super chats and shit in here. People sending me articles in the Discord. Now they talking about flatlining that bitch. They talking about knocking out the bridges. They talking about knocking out the infrastructure. Send that bitch back to the Stone Ages, man. What else are they talking about? Targeted airstrikes, dropping packets and shit so they can level buildings and get the RGC's family out of there. Does that sound like they really give a fuck about freeing Iran? Y'all don't like it when I talk that shit, man. Y'all don't like it when I keep it a little too real, man. Y'all don't like it when I keep it a little too real.
The White House or the president himself about this F-15, about the 2 airmen who were on board, about the fate of the 2nd airman, or any rescue operations. Mum is really the word here at the White House. We do know that the president's national security team is assembled, but we haven't been told whether the president has been meeting with them in the Situation Room, how often he's been briefed. We just have been told that he's been briefed and that he's been working in the Oval Office all day. The president has posted a couple of times today, but not about the F-15. He's mostly been posting about Iranian oil. In one cryptic message, he said, in just a 4-word post, basically, does anyone want the oil? With a question mark. Wasn't quite clear what he was referring to, but he has been talking for weeks and really for years about his interest in obtaining Iranian oil, taking Iranian oil, as he puts it. And earlier this week, he said that stupid people, in his words, not mine, were trying to talk him out of it.
And Nancy, the president has said several times that the United States and the Israeli Air Force own the skies over Iran, quite separate from the abilities, the mission, the capabilities of the F-15E fighter pilot. They were shot down. That's not an aspersion on their technical military capability. But it does suggest the Iranians have an answer at least once, maybe more, and maybe the skies aren't under as much control of the Israeli and American Air Force as the president has many times suggested.
Yes, not just the president, but the defense secretary as well. They have both insisted for weeks that the U.S. has near total air superiority over Iran, that their Air Force has been decimated, that their, as the president has put it, their anti-aircraft equipment has been completely destroyed. Even as recently as this past Wednesday, in his address to the nation, Major, he said that Iran's ability to launch missiles and drones has been dramatically curtailed. Apparently, however, it hasn't been entirely curtailed. We still don't know a lot of the details surrounding the downing of this F-15, but it does seem that Iran does retain at least some of its anti-aircraft abilities.
Nancy Cordes, North Lawn of the White House, thank you very, very much. Eleanor Watson, who covers the Pentagon for CBS, joins me now. Eleanor, great to have you with us. Nancy referred to this. We know a few details about the F-15E and the rescue. Tell us what we know.
Right now, we know that search and rescue is ongoing for the second crew member of that F-15E. Because it's an F-15E, there are two service members on the plane. The first was rescued, we're told, by U.S. forces, and the rescue for the second is underway. In all of this, there have been additional aircraft that have taken hits. An A-10 Warthog took a hit. The pilot safely ejected over the Persian Gulf. Two helicopters that were rescuing the first service member out of Iran were targeted with small arms fire. One of the helicopters was hit, but both helicopters safely landed, and the crew members are safe. All of this goes to what Nancy was talking about with the air superiority. There have been more than 12,000 combat flights over Iran. And so while the Pentagon and the White House have insisted that they have control of the skies, Iran's still going to try and get a few shots off, and in this case, did successfully shoot down Air Force fighter jet.
What do we know about the F-15 itself, the platform? What kind of maneuvers, what kind of missions does it typically carry out?
Well, this F-15 was likely dropping bombs within Iran. Because of that air superiority, the Pentagon has shifted towards standoff weapons to going and overflying targets. Where this aircraft was downed was southwest Iran, which the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said, you know, southern Iran, they're getting more and more control of that airspace. But clearly, this fighter jet was targeted. We had some indications there were still risks there a few weeks ago when we reported that an F-35 was also hit by Iran. That aircraft, fortunately, was hit, but safely landed at a regional airbase nearby. The F-15E is a larger fighter jet than some of the other fighter jets we see, but they would have been trained in evading, and we should note, would be trained in evading capture once they ejected as well.
It's worth underscoring, Eleanor, that rescue operations are frequently hairy. This one clearly was. An A-10 Warthog is a very serious aircraft. It can fire suppressive fire in very high quantities that's very lethal and still took hits. So this was an engaged situation with risks.
That's right. And really, we should impress upon our audience that in war, there are risks, no matter what is coming from officials about how decimated the Air Force or Navy are. The A-10, we should note, is a close air support aircraft. So the A-10, in this instance, we're not sure what it was involved in, but the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said there have been A-10s trying to knock down some of the risks along the southern coast of Iran, close in there, so that that Strait of Hormuz can open back up.
Excellent. Eleanor Watson, with all of the details, I appreciate it very, very much. Still to come on the takeout, the mission around the moon. We check in on the Artemis II crew and the amazing, amazing pictures they are sharing with all of us. Plus, a new round of firings at the Pentagon. Eleanor Watson, I'm happy to say, will be staying with me to talk about what's behind, if we know it. Top military leaders being asked at a video update from on board the spacecraft. Here's NASA astronaut Christina Cook.
There's nothing that prepares.
You said a pilot rescued Miss VR, Miss Bones? Both of them?
You for the breathtaking aspect of seeing your home planet both lit up bright as day, and also the moon glow on it at night with the beautiful beam of the sunset and knowing that we're going to get similar views of the moon, I'm really excited for that.
As are we all. Senior national correspondent for CBS News, Mark Strassman, joins me now from Johnson Space Center in Houston. Mark, catch us up on what we've learned today.
Was transfixing, wasn't it, Major? I mean, those pictures are just stunning. And remember that human eyes haven't had that perspective in more than a half century now. If you think about that one picture of the entire Earth, that one, it's like a group shot of all of us,
right.
except for the 4 people who are now making their way to the moon, right? I mean, there's leaving humanity behind.
I didn't have my smile going.
Shield. You get into deep space, you have galactic cosmic rays. There's going to be instruments looking at that. We actually have an experiment on there.
Members, as I mentioned earlier, fact. But he is known and respected, not only with the United States Army, but across all of our services. He's out of his job as part of the Trump administration purge at the Pentagon, which seems to be gaining momentum, accelerating. George was nominated to the post that he was just ousted from by President Biden in 2023. That position, under normal circumstances, has a 4-year term attached. Sources tell CBS News 2 other Army officers were also removed from their jobs. The total purge on the administration is now numbering more than a dozen high-ranking service members. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Eleanor Watson would come back. She has. I'm so glad you're with us. Describe what's going on, Eleanor.
Well, Randy George yesterday was informed by Secretary Hegseth that he would like for George to immediately retire.
Crazy.
There are 2 things at play, according to our sources. One is that Hegseth wanted someone in that spot, the top U.S. Army military officer who aligns with a Hegseth President Trump vision of the military, even though the military has historically been apolitical. That George may not fit that mold in Hegseth's mind because George, as you mentioned, was nominated by President Biden and previously served as the senior military assistant to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin from 2021 to 2022. We should note, though, that that's not all George did in his career. He's been an Army officer since 1988, having graduated from West Point. He served in the first Gulf War and then later commanded in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. The second thing at play, we're told, is there is tension between Secretary Hegseth and his own Army Secretary, Dan Driscoll. And the fact that George is close to Driscoll played a part in Hegseth giving George this early retirement, a year early.
It landed almost as an ultimatum.
That's right. And we've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. I want to read to you something that I came across in The Atlantic today from Tom Nichols under the headline, Hegseth's War on America's Military. What I'm about to read is not with the editorial nature of that article, but a fact that I think you would agree with, and I'd like you to evaluate. These officers, meaning all who have been purged under Hegseth's leadership, are all people with long and distinguished records of service. None of them has been charged with any wrongdoing, and none of them has been accused of any kind of incompetence or disloyalty. True?
That's true. We haven't really heard since the early retirements or the firing started last year, haven't really heard many reasons for them, which you would expect to because it ends these, almost 40-year careers. But what I do want to mention is it's not just the people that there have been some against the norms. Just this week, we saw the secretary kind of overrule the Army in an investigation into 2 Apache helicopters flying near Kid Rock's house. The Army initially announced those pilots would be suspended.
Pending an investigation.
Pending an investigation, a formal investigation. Secretary Hegseth on his personal X account lifted that suspension, said there will be no investigation. That is usually left up to the services. The second example, it was a few weeks back, but was the promotion list that Secretary Hegseth was personally holding colonels from becoming 1-star generals because he didn't want some of the names. He didn't think some of the names on that list deserved that promotion. That is almost unheard of based on what I've heard from current and former officials for the secretary to weigh in on a process that the services go through very comprehensively for months, especially to weigh in on a promotion from a colonel to a 1-star.
That is a merit-based process, rigorous, and supposed to be immune from politics so people understand that you can succeed in the military by doing the task, not by saluting in a particularly political way.
And so that you're not tagged with having done something under the previous administration.
Right.
Your work should speak for
Your
itself.
military career speaks for itself, independent of any administration that comes or goes. Eleanor Watson, as always, thank you very much. Coming up, Ed O'Keefe joins me to discuss his interview today with Maryland Governor Wes Moore. You're watching The Takeout.
Damn, Chad.
But the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief has still yet to articulate what exactly it is that we're doing.
As we meet here, there are search and rescue operations underway now inside Iran because a U.S. fighter jet has been shot down. In recent days, the President suggested this operation will be done in 2 to 3 weeks. That doesn't seem to sit with you.
This is sitting horribly with me because I'm thinking about these families. I'm thinking about the families of our service members who right now who are afraid to pick up the phone because they're afraid to hear what is on the other end of the line. That we had a President of the United States talk about the military success that we have seen thus far, while still without acknowledging the fact of the long road ahead, and no one understands or has been articulated to us what exactly it is that we are doing or what success looks like. And so I'm praying for these families, but also what I'm praying for is some clarity from the White House.
CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins me now. Well, the governor
in person,
yes,
not just in your wall.
Exactly. The governor went in a direction that he may find some criticism for.
Yeah.
Already comparing this to Afghanistan. Afghanistan was started under completely different circumstances, 9/11, and the goals there were different, and already describing this as a forever war. I mean, the president went to great pains in his primetime address this week to say it isn't forever, it is of a short duration, it may be a short duration after that.
Right, and yet 32 days the night he spoke, so we're at day 34. About 5 weeks. It is certainly not to that length. But what he's articulating is what many Democrats especially are concerned about, and that is you've launched yet another war. You've given very little clear explanation of what you want to do and what is the end goal. And we know how this can go if it isn't checked at some point soon. What it also starts to do is it now puts governors who may be military veterans but have no practical foreign policy experience otherwise now on the record in these ways, criticizing this, and there were some questions asked, you'll see Sunday, about, well, what would you do, or what should the next president do about Iran and about some other world issues? And you see there some examples of a governor that needs to do a little more thinking on that, because the criticism's one thing. Well, what's the solution? And there is the Democratic problem yet again on all issues. You can criticize the president, but what would you do about it? And the what would you do about it is harder to answer right now.
What would you do about it, Chad?
Ed O'Keefe, appreciate the time very much. You can watch more of Ed's interview with Maryland Democratic Governor Wes Moore this Sunday on Face the Nation, 10:30 a.m.
We're gonna
Eastern.
watch that little Face the Nation clip, man.
We say this a lot. It was a busy week. Pam Bondi out as Attorney General. The war in Iran continues. Supreme Court arguments, new presidential budget sent to Congress, lots of things going on. Our reporter panel will come back and join us. Well, they're not going to come back. They're going to be here for the first.
They're duking it out. They're criticizing each other. And, you know, Republicans say while they're fighting amongst themselves, John Ossoff is riding high. He's talking about all the money he's got in appropriations for all these rural counties. He's raising lots of money, more money than any other candidate on the ballot in 2026.
So he's not only focusing on Atlanta and the suburbs, but he's going statewide.
Yes, and, you know, there are places in rural Georgia that he's going to and saying, here's your check because I fought for you and got, you know, appropriations, earmarks in the budget. So, and he doesn't have to put up with, I mean, yes, the Republicans are criticizing him, but they're spending a lot more time criticizing each other. So he's just kind of floating along with no primary.
Jeff, you and I spent a lot of time at the White House. You know, this is a heavy week for the president and his administration. Iran is at not a tipping point, but the country's evaluating it. He gave a primetime address on it Wednesday. He spent all day there today. Now there's been a downing of an F-15. That's a significant moment. A lot's going on.
Lots going on, and it was an interesting messaging week for him because he gave that speech on Wednesday after saying in the Oval the day before that he expected to conclude the war within 2 to 3 weeks. I think he wanted to underscore that the next night in the big address, and probably try to goose markets a little bit, bring those oil prices down, get the stock market back up where he's happy to see it. And instead, it did the exact opposite because he did what he's done this entire time, which is give contradictory messages. In addition to repeating the 2 to 3 week timeline, he also gave sort of.
All right, Chad, that's enough of that. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, Chad. These are some of the Iranians that are out there actively looking for the soldier. I seen some of y'all said that the soldier has been found. The second soldier, I haven't been able to confirm that. So if somebody could send me that in the Discord, I have not been able to find where they got that second pilot rescue, man. Y'all make sure to send me that. But these are some of the guys. They're out there looking for him right now, man. They're looking for the down pilot. You said no, they haven't found number 2. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. They haven't found number 2. It's crazy they out there, man, looking for him, man. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. They're saying that it's been confirmed that Iran used advanced passive infrared detection to shoot down the American F-15. Passive infrared detection does not emit radar signals. It cannot be detached or jammed by American electronic warfare systems. So it's invisible to technology America has, is what they're reporting, man. I wish I had Drip or somebody in here to let us know, like, what the hell, what is that, like, what does that entail?
For the story live from Tel Aviv. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Brett. A couple of things we have from the Israeli. One is that they have...
I'm not gonna lie, Mike got a strong-ass neck, bro. No Diddy, no Epstein. That boy Mike got a neck, don't he, Chad?
All strikes, particularly in the area where U.S. personnel are searching for that missing flight crew member. Also, that Israel is sharing intel with their American counterparts, as they have been throughout the entirety of this war and before the war. An Iranian television anchor with the state-controlled media has put out the call for the locals to take custody of any U.S. personnel found on the ground for an unspecified reward. And this quickly went into the Iranian propaganda machine, with the spokesman for the Revolutionary Guard saying it disproves the claim that air defenses have been destroyed.
Following false claims by the U.S. president about the complete destruction of Iran's air defense system, an American hostile fighter jet was shot down in central Iranian airspace by a newly developed advanced aerospace defense system operated by the IRGC.
And the area of the search is scarcely populated. It's mountainous.
Moonlight, what video you talking about, Moonlight? The video on X is graphic and they violate. What Moonlight? What video?
And dry, and you're talking about 6,000 square miles. It has been...
Yeah, K-Cell, he's like one of those 1980 meatheads, man. Like a 1980 meathead, man. Like, I don't know, Chad. It's crazy.
Been dark in this part of the world for better than 6 hours now. Brett?
Mike Tobin, live in Tel Aviv.
Let's go now to the White House, where President Trump has been briefed on the situation.
I don't know, Chad. It looked like he'd just eat the whole bowl of cereal, bro. Like the whole bowl of cereal, one swift motion, bro. Whole bowl of cereal gone.
We're just learning the national security team is gathered at the White House. There we'll find Fox News senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy with more. Peter?
And, Will, I was just told by a senior White House official that President Trump has been in either the Oval Office or the Oval Office dining room all day getting updates about this search from the national security team, who remain here in the West Wing, even though a lot of professional Washington has cleared out of town because it's Good Friday ahead of the Easter holiday and a long weekend. It's also spring break here in D.C., so a lot of federal offices are pretty empty right now, but there is a lot of activity in the West.
Oh shit, chat. TMZ's been following all of Congress. Congress is out on vacation now. Some of them are out of the country, living up their best fucking life, man. And TMZ is tracking them, man. I'm not gonna lie. TMZ's about to turn to a political news channel, chat. I'm just gonna not lie to y'all, man. Music's not selling anymore. The blog shit's not really hitting for them anymore, man. Watch TMZ flip the damn script, man. Watch.
Wing. As for what President Trump is thinking about right now, you know, if you talk to him at any point about things like this that happen, he will tell you that his worldview is that the world is a dangerous place. And it seems like this falls into that category.
Y'all say NBC News just announced it. 2 pilots is rescued. All right, I'll look it up.
Because he is not planning to make any changes to the U.S. strategy over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Less than 48 hours ago, he said that we are almost done meeting our objectives in Iran. They needed to hit them hard for another 2 or 3 weeks. And he told NBC whether or not, they asked him whether or not this was going to affect negotiations with Iran. The quote is, no, not at all. It's a war. We're in a war. And so we should not expect any changes to the strategy. We do expect some kind of a statement from CENTCOM, who have been operating this combat search and rescue mission in Iran since some point last night when this plane went down.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now, Chad. It's, as of 4 hours ago, the Hormuz letter said the second F-15E crew member has been recovered alive after escaping and evading Iranian forces on the ground, per former Green Beret and journalist Jack Murphy. U.S. Delta and Special Forces extracted him under heavy fire from RGC units in Kahar Mahal and Bakatari province. This is the first confirmed U.S. ground engagement of Operation Epic Fury. Delta is now fighting on Iranian soil. Also, 33% of 1 in 3 U.S. adults between 18 and 34 now live with their parents. That's also coming out today. Congratulations to that soldier. Congratulations to those brave soldiers that went in on that extraction mission and is gonna get that man home. Thank you.
We just don't have those details yet. It sounded like this morning they were working on something, but there is nothing to share yet. And notable, President Trump's public schedule today showed 3 things, 2 policy meetings and 1 thing that was listed as signing time. They started the day on the schedule, closed.
Oh yeah, when Trump's talking about degrading this infrastructure, Israel's talking about degrading this infrastructure, we also have to remember that 97% of Iran's pharmaceutical industry is done in-house. Iran has already sent strikes at the the pharmaceutical company in Israel. I forgot the name of it, but 97% of the pharmaceuticals in Iran are made inside of that country, man. I wonder if Trump's going to target those. Chat, everybody hit the like button. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal. Let's hit the next like goal before we hit the next hour.
Press, all of them, which is normal. Sometimes, if the president has something that he wants to...
Lynn, you said, why the fuck are you watching Fox? Why the fuck are you watching me? They're both good questions. Right now, I'm currently watching Fox because it's the clip I have pulled up. Why are you watching me, Lynn? I'm just curious.
Say they will open that up to the press pool that is assigned that day. So far, they have not done that, and the last event was set to start at 3:30, so obviously there are a lot of moving parts today, but it is possible that we will not hear from the president on camera about this today. His only public comment, aside from this brief phone interview with NBC, was on Truth Social, where he talked about going and taking the oil in Iran. So his focus remains on the broader objectives of Epic Fury and not just this search and rescue mission, which he sees as part of the war.
All right, Peter, thank you so much for that.
Well, some breaking news now. A senior White House official telling Fox News that President Trump's national security team...
All right, man. Let's see how the plane actually went down. Let's see how it went down.
There are other reports of other aircraft being downed in the region, but we've not been able to confirm those yet. Kaylee.
Jennifer, thank you. Meanwhile, Democrats are wasting no time attacking the president, accusing him of committing war crimes and threatening
the valor and the safety as well danger.
for
Sorry,
the pilot
Chad.
continuing. We are told that President Trump's been.
So, Chat, do y'all think Trump has committed war crimes, Chat? Yes or no, Chat? In the chat, man, has Trump committed war crimes, in your opinion?
The Oval Office all day, the Oval Office dining room, the national security team is there, and he's been monitoring.
Indeed. There is no more primary mission right now for the entire United States and our commander-in-chief than the rescue of that second pilot and retrieving our treasure. And that's what it is. And I want to talk for a moment about the valor and the safety as well danger that faces the search and rescue personnel that are going after him. We all remember the Vietnam War and the POWs there. And Colonel Tom Moe was at the controls of an F-4, also an Air Force jet, when he was shot down. And in his inverted tailspin, had the wherewithal to radio back to the airbase and talk about it was actually their own munitions, saving their lives. And he evaded escape, or he evaded capture for 3 days. And during that time was in constant radio comms with the search and rescue personnel of the Air Force and more. And he was on the radio with then Colonel Bob Wilkie, who was at the controls of a Skyraider when Colonel Wilkie was shot down. So Colonel Moe, who was escaping capture by the Vietnamese, heard his rescuer shot down. And then he went on to be captured. He was a POW for almost 6 years. And the first question he had when he was returned to the Americans was, what was the name of that pilot that died saving my life? That is the brotherhood, and that is the danger that faces. But they are undeterred from having it be their primary mission. And secondary point quickly, Captain Barry Butch Wilmore, who wrote the book Stuck in Space, talks about the amount of preparation required and that they engage in for any kind of scenario. 10,000 hours in simulators and in real-world scenarios, rehearsing, essentially, preparing for not only the absolute worst, but any kind of scenarios. The scenarios that might take 1/2 an instant, that might last a duration of 6 minutes, but the point is you prepare for every type of that scenario. So I have no doubt that the pilot and the Wizzo, as it's called in the Air Force, F-15E, were properly prepared, and so too are their search and rescue teams that are going out there, and that will not stop until they find the second one.
You know, Paul, President Trump has issued pretty clear warnings to Iran about what will come. He talked about Iran looking like the Stone Age should they continue this. And you have the Iranian foreign minister who came out and said striking civilian structures, including unfinished bridges, will not compel Iranians to surrender.
Yeah, so look, one of the things that we are reminded of today is that, as we used to say in the intelligence game, the enemy gets a vote. Okay, yes. And war is not antiseptic, no matter how you portray it and how it looks on television. Okay, this is the inevitable result of doing what we're doing. But let's review the facts here and let's understand the two sides of this quite accurately, because I want to respond to these allegations of war crimes, which I think is the kind of hyperbole that is really why we don't trust Congress these days and why their ratings are what they are, because that's way over the top while we have people in theater fighting this war. Look. Reasonable minds can disagree about whether or not going into Iran was a good idea, okay? I had ambivalence myself as well confronting this when we...
All right, let's do a live poll, chat. Everyone double tap the screen right now. Let's hit the next light goal. We're doing a live poll right now. Was it a mistake going into Iran? Yes or no? Was it a mistake going into Iran?
We had the aircraft carriers off the coast and by the Persian Gulf. But I would say two things. Number one, let's understand the stakes. If you believe that a nuclear-armed Iran with ICBMs would not attack America because of some theory, let's say, of mutually assured destruction, which is what was always in place with us and the Soviets.
What's up, Southern?
That would work, then sure. I get the idea of saying this was a complete miscalculation. There was no reason to do it. They weren't a threat to us, because if we just leave them alone, they'll leave us alone. And that has to be the calculus, because they were going to get a nuke. That's, at this point, irrefutable. And number two, we know they had a missile that could go 2,000 miles that they weren't supposed to have. We also know they have an ICBM program. A matter of time before they can hit, forget our allies in Europe, never mind them, I should say, but the east coast of America. Never mind allies in the Mideast, not just Israel, but the Sunni allies. So the point is this. If you believe that the mutually assured destruction, the balance of power, would have held all of that together, then I'm compelled by that argument that, you know, we should have left it alone. But the truth of the matter is that I worked against these people. And I know how to mull this thing to the extent that anybody sitting on this side of the divide can know. And I don't trust them. and their messianic mission, their single.
So, chat, right now we're seeing in modern warfare, we're seeing F-15s being shot down. We're seeing the landscape changing. We're seeing drone warfare become really, really relevant. They're using the infrared, what was it? The infrared radar. Advanced passive infrared detection. It cannot be detected or jammed by American electronic warfare systems. So I don't know, chat. It may, I don't know, man. 1.5 trillion new budget. Like, are we gonna adjust? Is that 1.5 trillion gonna be spent differently?
Mindedness to get this nuclear device when their economy sucks, their people are in open revolt. We know 30 to 40,000 of them been killed. Then I say to myself, if you're going to accuse our president of war crimes, you better have an alternative to what we do about the fact that you're going to have a nation with nukes that can reach us at some point relatively soon and has a messiah complex and practically has death to America written on their currency. So from where I sit, those are the stakes, and we should understand them before we start throwing things around like impeach and try our president for war crimes. Because frankly, I find that disgusting.
Raph, you said the reason why we aren't feeling the effect so badly is because we are in the look. Oh, we're feeling the effect. Did you not just hear? I just said the price of ground beef, a pound of ground beef is more than federal minimum wage. Oh, we're feeling it, man. We're feeling it, man. The economy was already gone to shit, man. We're a ground beef, man. How many fucking hamburgers can you make with a pound of ground beef, bro? Like, let's be honest, man. 4 good burgers, chat. A good 4, maybe 4 good burgers, man.
Yeah, I do too. And, you know, reasonable minds can differ indeed, but the war crimes language, Kat, I mean, that is like literally Iranian talking points.
Well, a lot of times for politicians, war becomes political. It's not political for me at all. It never has been. My concern now and always is about our service members. And seeing a jet get shot down like this, it does raise the possibility of escalation, which does scare me. Because a few days ago, we were told, you know, no anti-aircraft equipment, everything's annihilated. And now we're seeing this.
Yeah, I believe it was, what is it, Anchorage? I believe they stopped flights from LAX to Anchorage because the jet fuel prices in Anchorage have reached almost $10. They went from $4.80 something to almost $10. So they're just not even doing flights there anymore.
And it does scare me. And for me, it's not political at all. It's personal. Just as the wife of a combat veteran.
Hey, that boy Barry Bringer said, I don't even have the volume on when this idiot streams. I just be typing for real. Well, listen to this, Barry Brigader. Get the fuck out. Everybody tell Barry, have a good night, because he opened his fucking mouth a little too quick. You think you gonna come in here, talk a little shit, and then enjoy debating in my chat and arguing and shit? No, Barry, get the fuck out. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And when I go unblock everybody, I swear to you, I'm going to hover right over your name and go to the next one just so I don't unblock your ass. Good night, Barry. What the fuck is wrong with him, man?
Seeing what happened in Afghanistan and then just seeing my husband suffer as he watched everything he fought for and that some of his classmates and friends died for fall apart so quickly. I mean, even war changes people, and seeing that up so close and personal changed me, even although I was always somebody who was a bit of a skeptic. But of course, I can't help but notice how some people who are just suddenly outraged about this war didn't seem to care so much about the ones before. So if you care about the consequences of war.
See, listen, Barry used to go in the chats where the streamer doesn't read chat. You know, Bears used to just go in there throwing little slick shots and shit. No, I'm reading that shit, chat. Just know I see all of that shit, man. I see all of that shit, man. Know that.
War, then that should matter every time and not just when it's politically convenient. So, I mean, I know that this is a part of war, and that's exactly why I'm so hesitant about war. And I know a lot of people in my generation are more skeptical or are more concerned because we are the generation that fought the wars that we had in the Middle East already. So I don't want to get nuked by an Iranian weapon any more than anyone else does, obviously. But I think that for a lot of us in my generation, these soldiers were our spouses, were our friends, and we have, you know, maybe some concerns. You can have concerns, but also be hoping for the best for all of our soldiers and military and be wanting to see things go.
What I love about these Democratic geniuses that go on and they love to tell a high chair quarterback and tell everybody what is going wrong, but you never hear what was going right or what's your plan? How would you handle it? This is a war that we are dominating in, but just like a prize fight where a guy is winning every round, every once in a while the other guy.
Man, who the fuck is this on Fox News with a backwards fitted cap, man? Who the fuck is this on Fox News with a backwards 5950 ad, man?
And they get a punch in, and if it's his hometown, the whole place goes insane. Wow, we got one jab in. But the whole time they're getting pummeled and getting beat. And that's the problem we have between the two countries. Iran doesn't care about their people. There's no way to track where their missiles are because they will put them under a school, they will put them in a church, they will put them wherever they need to be. And Iran is a big place. They get one shot in, and the people who are supposed to support our troops, regardless, and these are elected officials, and they're all about the troops when it comes time for election. Here's a time where now you're saying they were sent on a bad mission, that they're doing war crimes. The president isn't doing these things. He's saying that the people, the men and women that serve this country are taking orders and they're going to go out and do war crimes. To say that and to say that you're a patriotic American is disgusting. Their talking points doesn't matter. When President Trump got shot, they weren't out there saying this was terrible. They're like, well, it's his fault. Or they would make a little and it's the same thing. The war, we know the war is successful because they're so upset. And the first time there's a little hiccup in terms of they got one of our planes, they acted like, oh, wow, it's now the war's changed. America's on the ropes now. They're not. It's a terrible thing when one of our own goes down. He has the training. There's people in place. The president is literally sitting and watching one to make sure, wants to know what's going on. He didn't have to look for him. We didn't have to look for somebody in the White. We had understand that Iran had basically 4 years to load up and do whatever they want. And now, and even with all the stuff, the timing that they had, we have crippled them so much to where they're reduced to they got one time and they want to have a parade and they want to, I feel very bad for the leadership that's left because just their reactions from all of this, we're going to see a very powerful response from the American government and our boys, men and women who are serving over there.
And to that end, my question for Seth Moulton, war crimes, have you mentioned that Iran is recruiting child soldiers as young as 12 years old? There is one party that's committing war crimes. It is the Iranian terrorist regime.
Exactly.
And just to close the loop, if I can, real quick, you know, I don't want to hear that the alternative was the JCPOA, because you still hear that, right? When you consider the fact that as part of the negotiations here, we were just told that they had enough nukes for building at least, what was it, 10, 11 devices? But furthermore, they're not supposed to have the missile that they just fired 2,000 miles. So you're telling me that the inspection regime was working? Because you don't develop that overnight. That's been a program that's been going on. So this idea, that would be their alternative. Oh, you had a deal, you tore it up. I was at the Council on Foreign Relations when John Kerry got off the plane. It's the first place he went to explain that deal. That room, which should have been with him, was so hostile because I saw how facile he was being about.
Raf, you said the problem is Iran wasn't supposed to have the capability to shoot that jet down. I heard it wasn't the only one. Iran wasn't supposed, nobody was supposed to have the capability to shoot those jets down, Raf. Remember Trump said they were invisible. He doesn't even know how they gas them up. He doesn't even know how they put gas in them. Nobody was supposed to be able to shoot those bad boys down.
It. Oh, we trust him. We're going to be able to check it out. At one point, he had to yell at the crowd. He went, "We're not naive," because they knew you're naive. And what they were really doing was saying, kick this downrange for the next president. We don't want to do it.
You're being kind calling it the inspection route. I call it the plane load of cash route. Yes. That definitely did not work.
Let's go ahead and bring in F-18 combat fighter pilot and Top Gun graduate and commercial airline pilot, Captain Tom O'Louric. Tom, great to have you join the program today. What were your thoughts when you heard about this incident earlier today?
Not particularly surprised. The IRGC has demonstrated a lot of resilience And when our civilian leadership talks about complete suppression and ownership of the airspace, that may apply to the larger systems, the S-300s, the S-400s, but the shoulder-fired and truck-mounted heat-seeking electro-optically guided missile systems are very, very capable. As we get
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Chad. It's really safe to say that the war started last summer. If we're gonna go and look at this, actually, I'm saying World War III started with Russia Ukraine. World War III started with Russia Ukraine, but this actual conflict started last summer when Trump bombed them last summer.
Closer to the ground for ordnance delivery and certain different types of missions for ordnance delivery, you're going to be exposed to that. So this is very much mortal combat. We should expect these sorts of things going forward. We can't eliminate all the threats. And so that's where we are today when we saw this. I'm not surprised by this. And I think your viewers should be ready to expect more of this. And our air crews are well aware of this. They're going to fly appropriately. But the most important thing to realize is the IRGC is not done fighting. We can't seem to stop their hypersonic missiles, nor can we completely stop their drone swarms. So there's still a lot of fight left, and we need to proceed accordingly and adjust our expectations accordingly.
Well, Captain, if this was a lower level...
That's the thing, NW Wyatt Fun. You said, bro, this is a war. We lose a fighter, we make a fighter. I believe you said take a fighter. Then you said, what are y'all scared for? So I can tackle this convo in a couple different ways, but we're gonna start here. This is not what we voted for, you know. We voted for no new wars. We voted for peace. We just had a whole group of people championing for a damn Nobel Peace Prize. Right? What happened to the Nobel Peace Prize? What happened to no new wars? What happened to ending conflicts, not starting them? Now it's, oh, this has been a problem and we should have been done this. It's just, you know, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
Air defense system. Can you talk perhaps about some of the evasive maneuvers that a pilot might have to take if they were fired upon?
That's a great question, John. So, yeah, so assume you're being shot at, and when you come off target, you're going to have to operate the aircraft at appropriate tactical speeds. You're going to have to maneuver in 3 dimensions constantly under high G-forces, and you're going to have your countermeasures ready to go or deploy them preemptively based on the threat. Now, I will tell you that the heat-seeking threat is easier to defend against than the electro-optical, and these smokeless motors coming out of these new technology missiles make things a lot more difficult for the crews. So they just need to assume they're being shot at, and we've seen the losses adding up. So this is a very real fight. This is mortal combat. People need to understand we're not done with this. The IRGC is not done either.
Tom, do you expect?
You said, so we should leave them alone to develop nuclear weapons. Well, I'm just gonna be like this. Joe Kent was the head of counterterrorism. He said that there was no credible evidence, or there was no imminent threat, and there was no credible evidence that they were trying to go nuclear. I'm just gonna say that. I don't know, Chad. I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
That this second pilot will be rescued in the next, say, day or two?
That's another great question, Sandra. As your previous guest pointed out, the special operations forces that go in and do this combat search and rescue, they're geared up and ready for it. But they have to be careful because now with all this media attention, with where the other, and there's even video, citizens on the ground, local population are videotaping the H-60 aircraft that are in the search and rescue mode. So they know the area, they know where they're going to be looking. There is the bounty that's posted. I think the pilot would be worth more to the IRGC or the weapons system officer if they're alive. So at this point, the pilot or the weapons system officer, whichever crew member it is, they're doing their best to escape.
KSL says, one thing for sure, no other country will invade America's soil, boots on the ground. I hope that's true, KSL. But that's another place that where we become complacent. We really become complacent. We've been sitting over here in America getting fat and happy for how long? At least since 2008. At least since after we recovered from 2008, we've been sitting over here getting fat and being fucking happy. And we think it can't happen to us. It won't happen to us. Hyperinflation won't never happen to us. Now we got a fucking pound of ground beef, the price of a hourly federal minimum wage. I don't know. I just don't want us to get complacent, K-Cell.
Evade. They could be injured. They may have to go into hiding. That's kind of mountainous terrain or even urban terrain. If you land in the wrong spot, you hit a fence, you hit a rock, you break your leg. We don't know what's going on. So as a previous guest pointed out, we keep these crews in our thoughts and prayers, but recognize we are at war. This is combat. There will be losses, and we need to adjust our expectations with the understanding.
You said, bro, trying to strike blue fear in us? No, this is the actual honesty. I was saying this shit when Biden was in office, Chad. Y'all act like I haven't been talking about the economy being fucking ass. A lot of y'all weren't on my other channels. But before I started this channel, when Biden was in office, when he was lowering our strategic oil reserves to try to lower gas prices so he could win the election, I was talking about that. I was on the economy. I was talking about how we're getting fat and happy. I was talking about the 10 days of darkness. I was talking about the cyber attacks. I haven't just started talking. I was talking about Biden's economy too. We're fucked. That's the point. We're fucked. When Sri Lanka first put down, what was it, 2022? Sri Lanka first went under the damn fuel rationing and only government vehicles could get it. I was talking about that. Them having a wheelbarrow fucking cash to the grocery store to get bread. I was talking about that. I just wasn't talking about that on this channel.
Understanding that we're doing the best we can. But again, keep in mind that the enemy or our adversary in this case gets 50% of the say on any of these problems. And I would like to point out that the ROGC is stating that the shoot down was over Keshem Island. So
Jobs reports, I was talking about that. I was talking about that when they were coming back, adjusting the jobs numbers under Biden. Jerome Powell's coming up saying they changed the definition of inflation. I talked about all of that under Biden. But now that it's Trump's turn to get BTA, man, and we gonna talk about this shit over here, everybody's like, oh, he's that. But when I was talking that shit about Biden, no, everybody was mad then. It is what it is, man. Our economy's going to shit. We're sold out. We've been getting fat and happy for so long, and the world is about to change. It just is what it is, man. The world is about to change. It is what it is. Our dollar's not going as... Man, Debbie cakes are $2 for fucking $4, bro. What are we talking about? A pound of ground beef is like seven something. Anywhere between $6.50 and $9. Like, what are we talking about here? We're fucked.
That's it.
And guess what? All the help, we got jobs being cut. We just had what? How many jobs were cut over the last month? 15,000 one company, 4,000 another company, 30,000 from Oracle. Like, well, what are we talking about here? The average new job opening entry level has 241 applicants. The average new hire is 42 years old. Gas prices are on the way to all-time highs. You don't think if we start blowing shit the fuck up in Iran, all the infrastructure and shit, gas is not gonna go up even more? We're fucked. Trucking companies gotta change, make logistics decisions. We got Amazon putting a 3.5% surcharge on shit. USPS for the first time in history is adding extra fees due to energy crisis. South Florida's talking about gas stations are running out of gas right the fuck now. And you want me to act like I don't see this shit? Like everything's okay? It's not. It's not. It's not. I'm sorry. I wish it was, but it's not.
So Keshem could be, no telling where it's at.
Yeah. Well, Captain, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and thanks for your expertise. Top Gun pilot right there. Thank you.
No air defense in Iran. Tell us your thoughts on this in the context of other war.
Well, Will, it's an excellent question. The fact of the matter is, by historical standards, one fighter loss.
Better location for them to have gone down.
Yeah, there look like there are some good signs in this case. General Mark Wetherington.
All right, Chad. They already found the pilot, so we finna move on. Let me see if I can get the camera back on. Let me see if I can get my camera back on. They saying, oh, I gotta have 20% battery. It's crazy. I gotta have 20% battery. All right, let me get the camera back on, Chad, and then we finna move on into that guy. It was a guy. I believe they said it was in I believe they said it was in 2012. He predicted a lot of this shit that's going on now. Let me see if I can find that clip. I want to watch that with you guys. I was gonna watch it earlier when I was doing some work around the house, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna just watch it with the chat.
What role in the Middle East again does Israel play in this?
Hold on, let me see. Can y'all see me? Hey, chat, welcome back. Ha! I'm back, man. We got the camera back, baby. I don't like when I just had that little picture up unless I'm sleepy. But right now, I'm not sleepy, so I didn't like that picture up, man. But, yeah, he said they're following a script. So this guy predicted 2026, I believe, almost down to the year back in 2012. Everybody hit the like button, chat. We also are 20 subscribers away from the next sub goal. If this is your first time in my live stream, type first timer and I'll give you a shout out, chat. Only after you subscribe. Everybody hit the like button. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal. Let's get into this.
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity and government.
Right.
Now I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop it, starting in about 1990.
Josh, I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican, man. I don't care if you far left, far right, liberal, conservative, Marxist, fascist, alien, NPC. Get your ass in here because we're going to have them conversations tonight. Straight up, I am the voice of the politically homeless. The voice of the politically homeless, man. I don't give a fuck if the Republicans or the Democrats on some bullshit, I'm going to call them out. If they doing some good shit, we're going to talk about that as well and congratulate them, man. I really don't give a damn, man. I get on here every night and we have these conversations. Sometimes I open up the phone lines. Sometimes I open up the panels. Other time, we just rock out, man. Martrell, welcome in, first timer. Welcome in all the first timers. Welcome in, Yolanda. Welcome in, Tariq, Southern Breeze, you lying. Welcome in, Alex.
96, the Battle of Armageddon will become a reality.
He laid out the blueprint for everything we're seeing today. He knew why it had to happen, he knew who was behind the curtain, and he knew what we should expect next.
Read the book of Revelations, whether you believe in the book or not, Wendy. Read it because the men who are bringing this about are using it as their script.
This interview was recorded in 1992, and as you listen, you'll understand why his blueprint still matters today. Because he said it would all unfold exactly like this, down to the smallest detail of the script.
And I get people who still come to me all the time and say, Bill, you're all wrong, it's the Jews. The Jews are subverting the world. Man, it's not the Jews, it's not the Catholics, it's not the blacks. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret and decide the fate of the world. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret, it's a different story.
Yeah, I am a Christian. I get a lot of flack for being a Christian over here, especially on YouTube, Josh Gunner. But yes, I am a Christian. I grew up in the Bible Belt, and it just is what it is, man. I grew up in the Bible Belt. I'm a Christian. It is what it is, man.
He claimed the fate of billions rest in the hands of a...
I'm not perfect, though. I never said I was perfect.
...small group of people. And their strategy, he said, is simple. Keep us watching the circus so we never look behind the curtain.
At the highest levels of all countries, they all belong to the same club. And we, the people, sit back and we watch this grand drama, which is being played out for our benefit, not theirs. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even have to do any of this. But you see, they just can't come out and destroy all of us because they need slaves. They need people to make their shoes and make their cars and mine the ore. They need worker bees, and that's what we are.
His name is Bill Cooper. And what you're about to hear...
The name of this video is... He said they're following a script and predicted 2026 precisely by video advice.
...is his warning to the world. He believed that if you don't spare the time to hear this message to the end, if you don't make the effort to understand it and finally wake up, then you're participating in the great deception just as much as they are. His words, not mine.
George Orwell was just like me. He was a low-level member of British intelligence who was appointed to...
You said no cussing there. I never said I was a pastor, man. Damn.
...a position high enough where he saw the same documents that I saw. And he tried to warn the world just like I'm trying to warn the world. Only he wasn't willing to take the risk that I'm willing to take.
All right, Miss Bones.
A book called 1984 and spelled
What's
out
up, Blackish?
exactly what's coming as a warning to the people of the world, as a work of fiction. But you notice that that work of fiction really stirred people up because they knew that it wasn't fiction. In their heart of hearts, everyone who's read that book knows that it's coming.
Here's what Orwell understood. Control doesn't happen overnight. First you distract, then you divide, then you rewrite the rules so people don't even know they're being controlled. 1984 showed us the final destination, a world where nothing is true and everything is permitted except for those in power. For decades, that was just fiction. But now, more and more of the pieces are fitting together. The scenarios that were once ridiculed are beginning to look like the morning news.
Why is it that you are here today, or how is it that you are here today and you're not, conveniently taken away and put in a padded cell somewhere so that you can't speak of these things?
I can tell you this, I began to reveal information in 1976, and I was physically attacked on 2 occasions. My skull was caved in, that's what all these scars are.
My skull was caved in. Damn. Shit. My skull, I was attacked in 19, my skull was caved in, Chad. I don't think it's too many people out here that can tell a story like that. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't know too many people that's had their skull caved in. Shit's crazy.
On the second attack, I lost my leg. They visited me in the hospital. They had no intention of killing me. They were delivering a message to me. Shut up.
They didn't have no intent. They caved your skull in. What do you mean they didn't have any intention of killing you? They caved your skull in. What are you talking about?
And that was...
They damn near beat you to a bloody pulp.
The message that came through loud and clear. And 2 men who identified themselves with identification cards who belonged to the Defense Investigative Service, which is really the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Yeah, these guys just beat me, caved my skull in. They wasn't trying to kill me, though. What?
Asked me if I was going to shut up or they were going to have to do it right. And I told him, I said, you don't have to worry about me. I'm going to be a good little boy for the rest of my life. And yeah, I'm going to shut my mouth. And I did for 16 years. Kept silent until I saw this.
You can talk conspiracies all day and people will just ridicule you, call you paranoid. But when you start...
Chat, did y'all see that man that said he got teleported to a Waffle House? I just want to know this, chat. Why the fuck of all places did they teleport him to the Waffle House? That's what I want to know, man, chat. Like, of all places to be teleported to the fucking Waffle House, man, like, what was you trying to get, an all-star, man?
Talking about what you're not supposed to, that's when they come after you. At least that's what Bill said in the full interview.
I think his ass was drunk, chat. This is what I think. I think his ass was a little drunk and fell asleep. And when he woke up, they was outside the Waffle House. I've had it happen to me. I've teleported to the Waffle House a few nights after the club, man. I'm telling you, chat, don't remember the ride at all, man. Woke up and was at the fucking Waffle House, man. Teleported.
But now, he's starting to say things that really make you pause. Look at the pattern. Why does every piece connect? If it's all just coincidence, why does it keep happening? Listen to this.
Either these men are following the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is in the Bible. They're either following it, just like a plan, and bringing the prophecies in there to pass to manipulate and control.
Now, I've been saying this for a long time, chat, over here. Like, they are trying to actively fulfill prophecy. And a lot of you guys don't believe me. Because you don't believe in the prophecy. But what I'm trying to get through to y'all is you don't have to believe in the prophecy to believe that they're trying to fulfill prophecy. I mean, when people get on here and tell you like, hey, look, we just sacrificed the red heifer, man. This shit ain't been done since Moses and Ezra done it, man. I sprinkle these ashes on you, the blind gonna see, the cripple gonna walk, man. And y'all think these people not trying to fulfill prophecy? Man, they telling you what's going on, man.
Control those who believe in those prophecies and neutralize them, so to speak. In other words, if this is written in the Bible and God has ordained it, who am I to resist? It must come to pass, so I'm not gonna try to stop it. Okay. What a perfect way to neutralize the opposition right off the bat. Or there really is a God, and what he said was going to come to pass is coming to pass. And I named this, behold, a pale horse, from chapter 13 of the book of Revelations. The fourth horse, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth.
Now, look at the four horsemen. Revelation 6 describes white, red, black, and pale. The Greek word for pale is chloros, greenish, the color of death. Some point to the red horse, war, as already writing. The black horse comes next. Famine, collapse. The verse describes inflated prices, scarcity. Some suggest it could be approaching. Revelation 13 describes a world where no one can buy or sell without a mark.
I'm telling you, and Mexico just Shine Bomb just got up there and said that by the end of this year in Mexico, you won't even be able to buy any fucking gas with cash. It's over with. All contactless payments if you want to buy gas or pay toll fees. So guess what? Your ass don't have a contactless payment. Your ass can't pay the toll, man. You won't be traveling. Your ass don't want to make contactless payments. Your ass can't get no gas, so your ass won't be traveling. Now do y'all see what we cooking over here? Now do y'all get the picture how it's going? Restricting travel, how? You can't buy gas with cash. You can't pay tolls with cash. That means every time you fill that motherfucker up, we know about it. Every time you go through that toll, we know about it. Even more so than it is now.
Today, central bank digital currencies are rolling out globally. Is it the mark? No one can say. But the technology described, it's being built. Whether you believe it or not, some in power clearly do. Commanders quote Revelation, leaders invoke Scripture. Bill Cooper said they're following a script. Look at the pattern. Something is lining up.
Everything that's in my book, Behold a Pale Horse, is everything in here, all the documents that are in here, everything that's in this book is in the public domain.
Can be substantiated?
Yes, and I intentionally wrote this book not using anything that wasn't available to the public to show people that, yes, if I can find this information, so can you. I have tons of stuff that's not available to the public. But as you can see by reading this book, you don't need that stuff because it's...
No, I have not read that book. But what I will say is, chat, I shared a tweet earlier, man. Texas is building the largest data center in the world, chat. The largest data center in the world is currently about to be built in Texas. It's a largest data center in the world at 18 million square feet, 6,000 acres, 9 square miles. It'll produce more electricity than 15 states use at their peak. And I said that they're building the roads and bridges to the actual matrix in our faces. 20 years from now, everyone will point at us and wonder why we stood silent. It's crazy, chat. They're building a fucking matrix in real time in our face.
What you need is available to you. Public libraries are overflowing with the proof of what's really going on in the world, but nobody really utilizes it to the extent that they're able to pick this out and put it together. Another thing I've done for people is I've put it together for them so that they can see the overall picture rather than looking at small.
You said, why am I saying you can't buy gas with cash? Well, this is in Mexico. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum announced at the 89th Banking Convention in Cancun that cash payments at gas stations and toll booths will now officially be phased out. Digital payments are set to become mandatory for fuel and tolls. Now listen to this, chat. Let's look at the timeline. By the end of 2026, by the end of this year, you won't be able to buy gas or pay tolls in Mexico unless it's a digital payment. She said, our goal this year is to make digital payments mandatory for fuel and tolls through the models we are developing together with the banks, Sheinbaum said. This is intended to strengthen accessible digital payment methods and drive the country digitalization forward in many other areas as well. Do y'all see where she's going with that shit?
Things and thinking that it's isolated. Nothing is isolated. It's all part of a big puzzle.
Why is it that we can hear something this important and still forget it by tomorrow? Maybe we don't want to believe. Maybe we're scared. But I think it's something else. We're numb. Life grinds us down. Work, stress, the endless scroll. It all adds up. And then we turn on the news, hoping to understand. But instead we get noise, distortion, confusion. And that numbness, it becomes a habit, a survival mechanism.
Oh, chat, I need y'all to help me hit this next like goal, man. We're 21 likes away from 300. We need to hit 300 likes before we hit that 2-hour mark, chat. We need 21 likes. Everyone double tap the screen, hit the like button at the top, man. Let's get us in the algorithm.
But what if that's exactly what some are counting on?
All the media in this country, radio, television, and print, is all owned by 5 corporations. All of these corporations that own the media are owned and controlled, and members of the Council on Foreign Relations sit on their board of directors. But you can trace that yourself.
And I haven't researched it, but I don't doubt what he's saying. And now we see even the technocrats moving into this space. We see the big fellas, man. The ones who challenged legacy banking. If we talk about the Elon Musk, the Peter Thiels, the Larry Ellisons, even going into a lot of these people, man, the PayPal mafia, we have to remember that they came in the game challenging legacy banking system. Now they're technocrats. Now they're the richest people in the world. And now they're consolidating media. These are the guys that took on legacy banking 20 years ago. And they're still fighting that fight.
Okay.
Remember, if you go down and you trace the ownership of a station or a newspaper and you get to a corporation, remember that somebody owns that corporation and it's usually another corporation. But when you trace the interlocking of all these things, when you get to the top, there's 5. And all journalists know that there's some things you don't write about and you don't talk about because you'll lose your job. And that's where the control is.
Let's try it, shall we? Pick a news network, any network. Let's start with CNN. On your phone, type, "Who owns CNN?" You'll see it's owned by Warner Brothers Discovery. Good. Now type, "Who owns Warner Brothers Discovery?" In 2026, that's changing. Warner Brothers Discovery just signed a deal to be a...
You said, who are they? I spoke specifically right then to the PayPal Mafia and the technocrats now. The technocrats now are the same technocrats that came into the game taking on legacy banking. We got to remember PayPal payments and shit. Elon came in the game on digitizing payments, challenging the legacy banking system. You don't just do that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people you don't just do that. Boys came with some innovation, man, and now we see how the world is shaping now. We see the world, oh my God, bro, I don't know. I gotta watch what I say here. You know they like to try to strike my lives.
Acquired by Paramount for over $110 billion.
That's what I can say. We're sold the fuck out. That's the best way to put it. We're sold out.
Now type, "Who owns Paramount?" Paramount was bought last year by Skydance Media, and Skydance Media is led by David Ellison. Now type, "Who is David Ellison?" He's the son of Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, one of the richest men in the world. But keep going. Who runs CBS News? CBS is owned by Paramount, and the editor-in-chief of CBS News? Barry Weiss. She was appointed after the Skydance acquisition. Now here's the thing. Cooper said all media is owned by 5 corporations. That was decades ago. Today, the names change, but the pattern doesn't. You start with a news network, you end with a billionaire. And that billionaire, always connected to power. Try it yourself. Pick any network, any platform. Follow the chain, see where it ends. You might be surprised how fast you get to the same place. Let's continue, because this next part is about us.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
You hear that? $6 million a year. Now they're getting crazy contracts. I mean, $55 million is the going rate for an elite quarterback right now in the NFL. $55 million. We're not even talking about
And why is
NBA and damn MLB salaries. Shit is crazy.
that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive? And when the people are asking questions and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever...
What's up, Murray? What's up, Hotspot?
That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
Juvenal, the Roman poet, said it almost 2,000 years ago. The people who once handed out military commands, high offices, everything, now restrains itself.
That's the thing, see? Right now you said, I'm sorry to say in this life, being a realist, money has always ran the world. A fundamental shift is about to occur. It's going to be energy. It's going to be really crazy over the next 5 to 6 years to see how we'll just call it means of exchange shift over the next 5 to 7 years, man. It's gonna be crazy. Mediums of exchange, I mean, that's the term I'm looking for, mediums of exchange.
And anxiously hopes for just two things: bread and circuses. Bread and circuses. Today, the bread is your paycheck. The circus is the game. And while we're glued to the screen cheering for millionaires we've never met, the real decisions are being made somewhere else, by people we'll never see. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. History shows that a society obsessed with entertainment often becomes easier to control. As long as we're watching, we're not asking. As long as we're cheering, we're not challenging. And as long as we're numb, they stay in power.
But let me tell you something. When 150 of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it.
Davos.
But 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country. You have a reflection.
He's talking about Davos, right, Chad? He's talking about Davos.
Of the society in which that exists. And it is a sick society that it's doomed to self-destruction.
So based on that scenario, there's some truth into what these men are looking at.
Absolutely, and that's what makes me so sick, is that I'm trying to wake up a people who on a daily basis are proving the ones that I'm warning them about to be right.
Be honest, when was the last Davos meeting? And what exactly was proposed there? Most of us couldn't answer that, because we don't care. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Netflix, we have our own lives, bills, work, relationships. Who has time to track what 150 powerful people discuss in a Swiss mountain town? And even if we watch a video about it, we forget it in seconds. The next scroll, the next notification, the next distraction.
That's crazy, man. Mark Carney was over there with the WEF. Trump was on the damn Apprentice. Zelensky was twerking in stockings and shit. Putin was a real hitter, I guess. Oh, this shit is bad, Chad. I ain't gonna lie, this shit is bad.
That's exactly what Cooper was talking about. While we're busy living our lives, decisions that affect our future are being made elsewhere. And most of us are simply too distracted to notice.
Hey, that boy Milei look like I don't know, man. Every time I see Milei, Argentina's president, man, it's like, I don't know. I can't even take him serious sometimes, Chad. No cap.
The right track is don't believe anybody. Don't believe me. Don't believe George Bush. Don't believe anyone. You got to go out and you got to get proof in your hand before you can believe anything. And to do otherwise today is the biggest mistake that anyone can ever make. You begin believing people, putting your trust in them, that they're telling you the truth. I guarantee you're going to take a ride on a roller coaster you don't want to be on.
Oh yeah, you said Carney gave a great speech. Carney's a banker, man. Carney should be able to speak well. Carney should be able to hold a room. When you're at that, he comes from banking. When you're at that elite level in banking, you gotta have a good talk game, man. Like, it doesn't surprise me that Carney is a really good speaker. He also comes from that WEF, man. So it's kind of like, oh man, yeah, we're sold the fuck out, man, across the board.
Your own research. Don't jump in the comments and ask, so what do we do now? I'm telling you, use your mind. Because even these videos, they're not here to feed you conspiracy theories. They're here to engage you, to wake something up. Critical thinking is the point. It's better to put your mind to work than to wait for information to be handed to you. Because what if all the information out there is wrong? What then? We have to go back to the roots.
Tony Toast, man, comes through supporting the channel via Super Chat. Thank you, Tony, with the $20 Super Chat. Said, best show on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe, too. Shout out to the chat, shout out to the host, and shout out to these hoes, man. Happy Easter, y'all. Thank you, Tony, for your continued support.
To what we know is good, what we know is wrong. That inner compass, it's still there. We just stopped using it.
Now, do these people recognize the continuity of life? In other words, you have told me earlier that they're after physical immortality.
They believe that through their technology, man will become God. It's power of reason. Through technology, man will himself become God. They will engineer, just like he wanted to do, the super race who will live forever. And the concept is the same, and the men behind it are the same as was.
Bill said more than 30 years ago that they would reach for immortality through technology. Back then, it probably sounded absurd. But now, look at what's happening. Neuralink has successfully implanted brain chips in multiple patients. One man used it to play chess just by thinking. Scientists at Harvard and MIT are working on age reversal technologies. Clinical trials are underway for drugs that could add decades to human life. The CEO of OpenAI said recently that we might achieve human-level AI within a few years. And after that, merging human intelligence with machines is the next logical step.
They also did a study that worked in 10 out of 10 patients with that were deaf. They put something in their ear. I don't know if it was a shot, but it was supposed to do the receptions from the brain where the sound comes in the ear and then it's relayed to the brain. They're saying that with deaf people, it's the relay. It's not that the sound's not coming in their ear. It's the relaying the information to the brain. And they did something, and I believe it took like a month, and like 10 out of 10 patients seen like a dramatic change. It's crazy. They could fucking hear.
Whether you believe that or not, it's hard to ignore that we're moving in that direction faster than anyone predicted.
No matter what your religion is or what you think, they are following the scenario in the book of Revelations to a T, right down to the last little bit. If you want to know what's going to happen in the future.
This documentary right here is, he said they are following a script and predicted it 2026 precisely by Video Advice. Be sure to give them a follow.
If we don't wake up, and through the power of those, see, not one drop of blood ever has to be spilled, and no one has to ever put any chains on their legs or their arms, ever. If people just wake up and exercise what was given to us in our Constitution, the power of the vote, while we still have that power.
So you say there is still a possibility for like one individual watching this tape to actually make a difference?
You better believe it.
How would that be so?
Chat, RC asked, who all would get the Neuralink, chat? If you would get the Neuralink, put get it. If you would not get the Neuralink, put not get it. Let's see who would get the Neuralink. But to speak to your point, RC, the Neuralink is not for us to accept. That's what I've been preaching over here for like the last year. The Neuralink and all of these technologies that are rolling out is not for us to accept. It's for the next generation to accept. It's for us, it's to drop this generation so it's not new. It's normalized. By the time the next generation comes, these kids that are, we'll just say under 10 right now, it'll be normal to them. It'll be normal because we got to think that every child born after 2024 grew up in a transhumanism world. The Neuralink was already implanted in somebody. It was already working. They were already doing trials. So every child born after that point is being born into a world to where that exists. Just like now, we see the little robot vacuum cleaners. Remember when the Roombas and shit first came out? It was a big deal. I don't know if you guys were there, but when Roombas first came out, that shit was a big deal. Every woman on fucking QC, the damn channel that used to, the damn on TV shopping, every fucking QC 30-minute was a woman trying to sell a different form of Rumba, whatever it's called. Now, that was a big deal. Now it's normal. Now those things are fucking 15, 20, $30. little robot vacuum cleaner that goes around your house. So it was new then. Now it's normal. Now these kids that are being born, they don't even see an excitement in it. They're born into a world where the little vacuum cleaner just runs around the house and picks up the shit. So eventually that'll happen with the Neuralink. Eventually that'll happen with these other things.
So,
well, number one, learn what the truth really is.
And it's not for us to accept. It's for the next generation to accept. They'll phase it in. They'll roll it out to different people who have a necessity or a need for it. That's where the normalization will come. That's where it will start. And then they'll roll it out to the masses in different ways. Like right now, we see it being offered to patients who have disabilities. Whether it comes to, bodily function disabilities or things of those sorts. They're rolling it out to those. Next, they're going to roll it out to the gamers. And you know how we know they're going to roll it out to the gamers? Because they're letting these people who have disabilities showcase the games that they play. We just seen the clip. What did he say? He can even play chess. But did you see the screen? It was Call of Duty up there. It was all kind of other games. So they're going to market it to the gaming community next. The gaming community is going to eat that shit up to be competitive. In order to be competitive, because they're already using hacks and cheats and doing all of that shit, and the game just lets them do it. Yeah, they might ban one or two people, but they don't really ban them because they're getting people, they want people to be as competitive as possible, even whether they're playing for money or not, because that'll be another way to phase people into this Neuralink. Now you have, let's say, the world out of 8 billion people, the world has, let's look it up. Let's look it up. How many gamers are in the world? Let's see. How many gamers in the world, chat? There are approximately 3.32 billion active video gamers in the world. So let's just say out of the 3.32 billion active video gamers in the world, they get 5. We're not even going to say they get 50% is 1.5. We'll say they get 500 million. They get 500 million gamers to transfer over to the Neuralink so they can be competitive. Now we're living in a world with 500 million of them. That's enough to be normalized in the next generation. Crazy.
Get away from the fantasy that you've been living. Educate other people, those you know, your family. Once that begins to happen, it spreads.
What's up, Kai?
And then if the people decide that they don't want what they have in store for us planned, just through the power of the vote, they can make this country and the world whatever they want it to be. Whatever they want it to be. And there are no limits.
Title is He Said They're Following the Script. If you type that in, it'll pull the video right up.
On that, except to understand that you can never make everything all right and you can never make everything all bad. Both must exist and we must maintain a balance.
If you stayed until now, you're probably one of those who's awake, or at least you're willing to be. And that comes with a responsibility. Be responsible with your mind. Use critical thinking. Bill said it himself. Don't believe him. Don't believe us. Believe what you can prove, what you can verify. But you have to do the work. You have to research. You have to stay awake. Because if you stay awake, others around you might wake up too. And that's how things change. Now, Bill has a final message for us. So, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear.
Close doors to bring about the world that they want. And the world that they want may not be the world that you want, or that I want.
You said check out Hierarchy of the 300 Committee. Somebody dropped that in the Discord. Somebody dropped that in the Discord so I can check it out later on.
Or that these people watching might want.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't participate, you can't complain. If you don't help cook the meal, you got no right to bitch about it. You got to sit down and eat what's put on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like that, then you should have been in the kitchen helping to prepare the meal, helping to plan it, helping to prepare it, helping to serve it. If you want to sit on your butt in the living room while somebody else prepares the meal for you and decides what it's going to be and puts it on the table, it's too late to say that's not what you wanted to eat. It's too late to say it's not cooked the way you wanted it to cook.
Well, that's very simple to understand. And
that's right. You got to eat it because you have to eat to live. And I think that anybody can understand the meaning behind that little story.
All right, man. You said, what is the Council of 300? You'll have to ask them in the chat. I don't think I'm familiar with that right now. Let's get into this Tucker episode with this priest. I think Tucker interviewed a priest, chat. Yeah, he interviewed a priest. The connection between what? Oh, he's talking about the aliens and demons.
Psychology. So when psychology came on board, it became in vogue, especially in the 50s and in the 60s, to just think that that all these people's problems were just.
What's up, Shell? I hope you have a good day, Shell. Thank you for stopping by.
Purely psychological. I mean, there are psychological issues that very much look like that, but the fact is that so they just.
Chat. Someone says. How to Live says famine is going to hit Africa. If you think famine will hit Africa, chat, put yes. If you do not think that this conflict will cause Africa to have famine, put no, man. Yes, if you think it will, no if you don't, chat, man. I hope Africa doesn't have any more troubles, man. But we do need to hit the like button, chat. We're 25 likes away from 350. Let's get to 350 likes right quick. Everyone double tap the screen while we get into this episode. Break this shit down.
Started chalking it up, and that's one of the reasons why in the United States, before the 1960s, the number of dioceses, that is the Catholic diocese that had an exorcist, was fairly high. I mean, every major diocese would have one. But then it started to decline precisely based upon that thinking.
Chad, have you ever seen an exorcist or exorcism? Have you? I've never seen, I ain't gonna lie, Chad, I ain't never seen no exorcism. I ain't never seen no exorcist, Chad. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I haven't, man.
But then over the course of time, they begin to realize, well, look, there's certain things we're seeing that are not psychological, and so they can't be explained in that way, and people needed the help. And so now the bishops are coming a little bit more up to speed in that regard.
Well, yeah, after, 100 years of Freud, we still can't identify what schizophrenia is. It does make you realize, at the very least, there are things we don't understand that could very well be supernatural. Yeah. So that does make you wonder about the origins of psychology, though. I mean, if the net effect was to eliminate people's belief in something real, which is demonic possession, then...
Yeah. Well, I think that was only one aspect of it. I think that the real goal of a lot of the psychologists, which is in the literature, is that many of them are atheists.
Hey, Cart, I'm going to ask you to sit down somewhere in my damn chat, man. You doing all the yelling, typing in all caps, man. Come here with some decorum, man. Sit your ass down somewhere. Act like you've been here before.
They just didn't believe in God, and so they wanted to eliminate any concept of anything supernatural, or what we call preternaturals, which is the demons are preternatural. They're not supernatural. God is the one that's supernatural, but we tend to talk that way. Although sometimes people will just say supernatural, thinking about demons in that way too.
Can you, for the ignorant like me, explain the difference between preternatural and supernatural?
So supernatural is those things which are above anything that is created, and that pertains to God. Whereas preternatural comes from the Latin word praeter and natura, which means aside from nature. So that would be things that are above what we experience as human beings in this world. But it's not supernatural because it's not God. It's kind of in that in-between state, which is what the demons are. But they're still considered natural in the sense of they have a specific nature that God created them with. They're created beings, and that they actually have a natural law. They have they're structured to think in certain patterns in certain ways. So it's kind of a middle tier, but it's preternatural. Supernatural would be something like being able to suspend the laws of nature.
Right.
So demons can't cause miracles, for example. But they can cause things that to us as human beings are outside our normal experience, and so it looks miraculous, but it's actually not. It's something that they can do on their own.
So I guess the good news about that distinction is they're not all powerful.
No, they are not. In fact, demons are one of the most regulated things in the universe, really, because and they're regulated by three things. One, as I mentioned, their natural law, their nature. They're structured a specific way. The second thing is once the demons made their choice, their will became fixed in a specific way. This is one of the reasons why when you deal with them as an exorcist, they almost seem obsessive compulsive. Even when it goes bad for them, they'll still tend towards that thing which they chose, that the sin that they committed, and so they're very. Their tendency is towards that, so they're fixed by that. And then, but the main thing is, if you remember in the Gospels, Christ says to the apostles before he sends, he said, "All power was given to me in heaven and earth." All.
Hey, Cart, stop typing in all caps, man. I don't know if you didn't get the last message, man. And when I say come in here and sit your ass down somewhere and quit yelling, that means stop typing in all caps. I see what you say, Cart. I can read your message. The chat can see it. When you type in all caps, it just doesn't look good in here, man. Everybody hit the like button, chat. We're 5 likes away from 350.
Power. That means the demons even know that they can't do anything without Christ's permission.
What's up, Louis?
In the spiritual warfare landscape, we know, and this is, as an exorcist, it actually brings me a lot of confidence because I don't have to worry about if it turns into the type of thing where I get shellacked a little bit during a session or whatever the case is, then I know Christ is still controlling and metering how much and what he can and cannot do. And we know this too because if you remember,
hey, somebody put 5 minutes on Carp ass, man. Carp, you can just watch for a minute, man. Somebody put Carp on punishment for 5 minutes, man. Carp your ass on punishment.
You made the mention of it before when they asked, the demons actually approached Christ to ask to go into the pigs.
I was just thinking that exact on the other side of the lake.
Yeah, so they can't even enter into the pigs without his permission. And so nothing they do can occur without their permission. And so Christ has complete control over the spiritual landscape, the spiritual battle. He has complete control over it. And so they know what they can and cannot do. The first time that actually really occurred to me was I had this one case where this demon, because when they take possession, unless it's a perfect possession, but if it's a partial possession, they take possession of a part of the body. And from there, they can affect the rest of the person. And so the demon was possessing this woman's lower back. And
all right, Chad, so I'm going to ask y'all this. Did y'all see that video of Trump's spiritual advisor casting demons out of people, performing exorcisms? You know, the last spiritual advisor just got out of jail on like 6 months on, a little essay on a minor. The last spiritual advisor. Now, the new spiritual advisor, I seen a video of her, performing exorcisms and shit. Do y'all believe that's what she was doing?
I commanded him to tell me, why are you
Thank you, RC.
I don't know. So I commanded him, why not? What do you mean you don't know? And he said, when I entered, Christ restricted me to this part of the body. And that's when it made me realize he has control over everything, when they can manifest, how long they can manifest, the kind of manifestation they can actually do, how they can attack the person that's possessed, how they can attack us, even in our own.
Man, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't just want everybody praying for me. You know how everybody be like, pray for me or send prayers. I'm not one of those people. I don't listen, man. I don't know who y'all be praying to, what y'all be praying to. I don't listen, chat. I'm not one of those guys, man. Straight up. Been like this since I was a kid, man. Everybody not praying for your best interest. Some people pray on your downfall. So I don't need everybody praying for me, if you get what I'm going. Straight up.
Or ordinary temptations and things like that. And in other ways, he regulates all of it ultimately. And then you begin to realize, too, over the course of time, it's ultimately for our spiritual benefit.
The experience is for our spiritual benefit.
Yes.
I believe that. Okay. So what are, if you don't mind, we could just start at the beginning, big picture. What are demons?
So, actually, according to Pseudo Dionysius, and then also Thomas Aquinas, and then pretty much the whole theological tradition from that time, from Dionysius on, basically held that in the very beginning, when God created, what he did is he created the entire hierarchy of angels instantaneously, all at once. And these angels were all the angels were created, and Thomas Aquinas talks about what they call the 3 instances of the angels. So when they were first created, how they understand things is the opposite of ours. So when we want to know something, we'll actually study a number of different individual things that are like that so we can get a general sense, and then from that we'll abstract a kind of a conceptual understanding of what these things actually are, what their nature actually is. But that's because we use our senses to come to know things, right? And this is why, even as human beings, we know that if someone isn't in contact with their senses, we know there's something wrong with them, right? Whereas the angels and also the demons are the exact opposite. All their knowledge was infused. So they know exactly what the essence and nature of every created thing that exists. And this is actually a diagnostic that you can use in session, because we get people that try and fake that they're possessed, and there's a variety of reasons why they do that. And so we will, one of the things is, if you ask them a technical, theological, or philosophical question, if it's a human being, you can see they have to think about it, and then they'll kind of reason their way through it. That's not how demons work. They'll immediately give you the answer, just immediate. They'll just say it's X. And they don't have to think, because for them, all their knowledge is infused, both the concepts, but then as things occur.
Have you ever seen demons answer esoteric questions?
Yes. Yeah. There's been cases, I had a case, it's one that I'm actually working on right now, where the demons in this particular case have made theological distinctions that there's no way this person could have ever known those distinctions. And they're, let me give you an example. So he made the distinction between consummatum est and finitum est, which is a Latin phrase. So consummatum est is that the sacrifice is complete. So in relationship to the sacrifice of Christ, he says consummatum est, and then he gives up his spirit, right? So it's completed. He's finally completed everything that was necessary in order for our full redemption and our full healing and all of that. But it's not finished yet. The finishing occurs once he's buried. So they have to take him down, Our Lady embraces him, and then they put him in the tomb, right? So that he made that distinction. And I'm realizing this is one of those indicators that you're not going to see those kinds of distinctions being made by a human being who has never studied theology in any sense.
And this is not a person who has?
No, nothing. I mean, she finished high school, and that's about it. So
seriously,
yeah. And there's other times when they've made distinctions that are just like, in fact, one time in the Catholic tradition, we actually believe Our Lady was assumed into heaven because she was so pure and so perfect and sinless that God assumed her body into heaven. And so it was the feast of that day, and I was doing a series of exorcisms, and I asked the demon, I said, or I commanded him to tell me.
So what do he mean by that? What do he mean that a body was consumed and went to heaven? What do he mean by that? Hold on.
Healing and all of that. But it's not finished yet. The finishing occurs once he's buried. So they have to take him down, Our Lady embraces him, and then they put him in the tomb, right? So that he made that distinction. And I'm realizing this is one of those indicators that you're not going to see those kinds of distinctions being made by a human being who has never studied theology in any sense.
And this is not a person who has?
No, nothing. I mean, she finished high school, and that's about it. So
seriously,
yeah. And there's other times when they've made distinctions that are just like, in fact, one time in the Catholic tradition, we actually believe Our Lady was assumed into heaven because she was so pure and so perfect and sinless that God assumed her body into heaven. And so it was the feast of that day, and I was doing a series of exorcisms, and I asked the demon, I said, or I commanded him to tell me. I mentioned the fact that this was her.
I'm just trying to figure out, where does it say that at? I kind of wish he would have had like a chapter verse or something. Like I'm just trying to figure out where did he say that? What do you mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to figure out like where did it say that? I know about the chariot that went up to heaven, and I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying?
A moment of greatest glory. And he just looks at me flatly, which demons lie all the time, but they're telling the truth. There's ways we can ferret that out too, but they'll just give you they'll just pan you and just say, no, that's not how that works. Right? And I said, what was it then? He said, it was a moment of greatest triumph. She had gone through life without committing sin, and now she's entering into heaven triumphant. I said, was it crowning of heaven, Queen of heaven and earth? Because we believe that as Catholics. And he says, no, that was her moment of greatest honor. I'm I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because honor is praise or recognition for excellence. And so God was recognizing her excellence in this way. And so I finally just commended to him, well, what was it? He said, standing under the cross in perfect virtue. Later, he revealed that that he said, other than the actual passion and death of Jesus Christ, he said it was the most glorious event in all of history.
The demon said that.
The demon said that.
So what's in your toothpaste if you're using the brand?
A rather prominent individual, and when I looked at him after the prayers, it can be something very subtle where it's just there's a complexion that in the writers and the authors, they call it the cherrywood look, where they take on this face where their face turns like this cherrywood color that's impossible for us as human beings to have or replicate on a natural level. So cherrywood, it's kind of like this red-brown color that you're like, yeah, that's not a natural color. So it'll be everything.
Listen, Ramel, I understand you're passionate, but you're gonna have to chill out with the all caps, man. Listen, you can type what you want in the chat. You know, I have those debates, man. But let's not scream in my chat. Sit your ass down somewhere, you know, and just type regular.
From something very subtle like that all the way to complete morphing where they change into the shapes of animals. One case, actually there's been a couple of cases I've had where women, very feminine looking, all of a sudden morph into it looking like completely like a man. So you see, these are some of those, the morphing.
While you're sitting there?
While you're praying usually is when it actually ends up happening.
And you look down and the woman you're praying over is now a man?
Looks like a man, yeah. And it's not just me seeing it, because we have a team that's there present at the time. For a variety of different reasons. They provide different functions, but and they'll very often see the same thing. So they're all seeing the same thing.
Have you seen people's pupils change?
Yes, that's pretty common. So a lot of times,
yeah, all caps definitely mean you're yelling. Unlisted, his cap's not broken. He was typing in partial caps, partial big caps. I mean, lowercase and partial uppercase. But yes, caps mean you're yelling. Definitely, RC. See, when we come in here, you know what I'm saying? This is a house. You know, y'all at the cookout with me. We at the barbecue. We at the club, the bowling alley, wherever y'all want to be. We're hanging the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Fuck it. Y'all are in my house right now. You know, we got snacks coming, plain lays and chips and shit. Just don't get the yelling in this motherfucker, man. If anybody yelling in here, I'm a do the yelling. All right? Till we open up the phone lines.
Hyperdilate and turn very black. Or they'll another more common thing, I don't see it too often, but because certain exorcists will see some things much more regularly than others, but a lot of times their eyes will roll all the way into the back of their head, so all you see is white. So you'll see those. So those are the kinds of things that you actually see. But the morphing is we call it one of the preternatural signs that you know someone's possessed. You know they're possessed.
How do their voices change?
There's two things that they change. A lot of times they'll change in just the tone. They'll start sounding like a man sometimes. Now, once in a while, the demons will use the person's own vocal voice, and so, and part of the reason they want to do that is because they don't want you to hear.
Now, I get what you're saying, Romeo. You might want to join one of our panels where we do debates. We do have these debates. We do have these talks, man. Trust me, you'll like to get in on one of those, man.
Hear what the characteristics of their own voice, and the reason I say that is because of the fact that an experienced exorcist, it's like a boxer. You know, when you box, when you get into the ring, you can watch all sorts of videos about.
I debated one of those people today, man. Like at a certain point, I just had to go like, shit, we can't cast pearls before swine. You know, at a certain point, I just had to like, hey, man. He was just saying that basically he was trying to get the panel to acknowledge him as God, you know, and it's like, yeah, I can't call you that, bro. Like I'm not gonna call you God, bro. I'm just not. I'm sorry, man.
this guy's technique, it's not until you get in the ring and box with this guy that you actually get a sense of, okay, this is what this guy is actually like. So the reason the demons don't want to attack you, especially if you're an experienced exorcist, is based on a philosophical principle, which is the cause is always some way in the effect. So anytime they attack you, they reveal something about themselves in that process, and then you can use it against them later. So as
Yeah, he was one of those niggas, you know, like I told you who I am. See, you know, when the YNs, they crashing out, they tell you they demons, you believe them. But when I tell you I'm God, I am God, you don't believe me. He was one of those niggas. And I'm like, look, bro, you can believe whatever the fuck you want to believe, man. I'm just not calling you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is, you know. Sometimes you just can't cast pearls before swine, man.
As an experienced exorcist, they really don't want to get involved with you, although a lot of times Christ still requires them, but they don't want to attack you, because then once they attack you, you know, you can find out what his psychology is, what his patterns of thinking are, etc. when he's attacking you.
How do they attack you?
One is the oppression, where they attack you from the outside. The other one is that it's not obsession in the proper sense, because obsession is something that's ongoing. But what they'll do is they have the ability to affect our imagination and our emotions. So a lot of times what they'll do is when they attack the exorcist, they'll put a perspective on an image in your imagination. So for example, you know, a guy when he's first married, he thinks his wife is wonderful. He gets all this emotional delight because our emotions are moved by what's in our imagination, the perspective specifically. So when he's first married, she's wonderful, she's great, I love my wife, look how beautiful it is, she just brought me a beer, isn't that wonderful, you know, etc. Then after 10 years, his perspective on her changes because they've had fights and things of that sort. And so when he sees her, even though she hasn't changed, his perspective on her, and so his emotional response changes. Well, demons can put that perspective on your imagination, so they can actually do that. And this is one of the ways that they can actually affect relationships. In fact, the first thing they ever do in a marriage is they try and put a perspective on one of the spouses or both of the spouses to psychologically divide the people, so the person thinks they see something bad in the other spouse when it's actually not there. So, but anyway, what they'll do is when they attack the exorcist, they'll put that perspective on your image in your imagination, but that perspective then tells me something about his psychology. So I've written 4 books actually in psychology from the way St. Thomas Aquinas understands it, right? So, and developed it based upon that. It does incorporate a lot of the stuff in modern psychology, but it actually gives a foundation to it based on an authentic anthropology and not just some wacky view that we have of human beings.
So, chat, thank you, Lala, for the gifted membership. Lala, Tune. Thank Lala for that gifted membership, Tune. Thank you, Lala, for the gifted membership. But what I was gonna ask, chat, is what races are predominantly Catholic? Isn't that like the Latino community? Aren't most of the Latinos Catholic?
Mainstream news media. I mean, because I figured, well, they have a natural law. In other words, each demon has its own natural law, that it's inclined to specific things and not to others. So as human beings, we have a natural law because we're inclined toward things like marriage, eating, living in community and society, and that type of thing.
Here go Jeb. Quit yelling, bruh, you're high. Quit yelling, you're high. Jeb, I don't come into your space, Jeb, telling you what the fuck to do and how to run your show, Jeb. I don't know, man. What's up with you, Jeb? You got some kids, Jeb? Jeb, do you got some kids, man? Maybe you need to call your kids, man, because it just looks like you need to tell somebody what to do, Jeb. You might need to call your kids, man. Just whip them up in line and shit, because you coming over here telling me what's going on, Jeb. This shit's getting old, man.
Things we have a set of inclinations that God placed in us. Demons have that same thing, except theirs is tailored to their specific nature, because each demon's nature is different. Their species, technically speaking, is different. And so that's why in a session, when they manifest, when one demon comes to the fore and the other one leaves, the morphing will change to accommodate that. And so you immediately know, okay, I'm dealing with this guy rather than that guy. And actually, after you've dealt with the same demon over and over again, you can do a session and just start out on a new case. And then once he manifests, you're like, you recognize who he is.
You'll see the same demon in different people?
Yes. Yeah.
How many? So this, I have so many questions. I hope you're prepared for a long interview. This brings us back to my initial question before I sidetracked you with too many other questions, which is, what are they and where are they from?
So they're basically pure spirits. They don't have a body. They can act upon us who have bodies, and they can act upon physical things, but they don't have a body. So they're pure spirits. They only have two faculties, an intellect and a will. They don't have emotions, but they experience emotions in their will. So when they were first created, the entire hierarchy of angels, and they're in the billions, because it's actually part of the theological tradition that every human being has their own guardian angel, and that's from the lowest rank, because there's 9 of them, the 9 choirs. They have the lowest, that's just from one of them, so there's literally billions of these, but they're all created instantaneously at once. And then, according to the theological writers, that meant that they were created into a perfect state of knowing, because as I mentioned...
Lala comes in via Super Chat. Thank you, Lala. She says, welcome to Plug Nation. Hit that like button, chat. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal. And thank you for 45,700 subscribers. Let's get to the next sub goal as well, chat. We're 20 subscribers away.
Mentioned before, they just have to think about something, use their will to move their mind to think about something, and they immediately exhaust everything that they can possibly know about that thing to the degree of their intelligence. That's why when you ask them questions, as I mentioned before, they never think about it. They just give you the answer. So because they don't have to sit and reason it out. They just immediately know it. So that first instance, they were created in an act of knowing, and that meant they knew who God was, who they were, what their nature was, what he was asking of them as an assigned task. Because God, every single angel that was created, it was given God created him to perform a specific task. And so, for example, Gabriel was basically created. His task was to do the Annunciation to Our Lady. So, and we see Michael, Saint Michael. His originally assigned task is, according to the theological tradition, is that he's actually the guardian angel of the elect. That's why he was originally the guardian angel of the Jewish religion. But then once they apostatized and because they refused to accept Christ, he then became the guardian angel of the elect of the Christian religion. So that he became and that's also why we read in Scripture in the book of Revelation, Saint Michael was given the power by God to cast the demons down from heaven after they fell, because his goal was to protect the elect that were in heaven. And so that was his function. So they're all given an assigned task. Okay, so they know all these things. They also know all about the angels behind us. They also know what Satan, or at the time Lucifer, is being tempted with as far as his fault. Because so they were created in this state, and then they have this act of knowledge. That's their first instance. And then there's a concomitant act of will of delight. They see how magnificent God's creation is and how beautiful it is. Then they have
I ain't gonna lie, Chad, at this point, I think he just up here fucking talking, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think he up here fucking talking. That's just me. You know, some of y'all might not believe that. Some of y'all might believe that what he's speaking is, you know, actual factuals. I don't know. It sounds to me like he's fucking talking, man. I ain't heard a chapter, verse, or anything.
Have to make their choice. Are you going to do what God is asking or not? Now, in that choice, there's something very specific that has to happen. There is some perfection that they see that is above them that they have to be willing to let go of. Otherwise, they're in order to perform their task. Otherwise, they're going to be damned if they don't. Basically, they have to be willing to let go of this. And basically, and even under duress in session, you can compel the demons. They'll admit it, that their first sin, even though it was usually pride or envy of some sort, because that envy of some perfection that someone had, that their first sin was pride or envy, but they failed to sacrifice that thing that they wanted. They literally wanted something that God had not intended for them. And so, and this is why at the core of it, Thomas Aquinas makes an observation. He says, in the end, there's one thing that God wants from every intelligent creature, and that's sacrificing his will to God, to him. So then that meant they had to accept their task, which is below this perfection. So they had to accept this lower task. But then they made their choice, and because, unlike us, Tucker, as a general rule, human beings are pretty stupid.
Yeah.
And so that's
Been
why.
there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
Yeah. Good night, Drip. Yeah, I don't know, man. This guy's not really talking. He's talking about some other shit, man. Good night, Drip. Appreciate you for coming in. I don't know, man. We're going to get on from him, Chad. Let me find out, though. We got to get on from him, Chad. I don't know, man. You got some other shit going on. All right, here we go. Chat, everybody hit the like button, man.
E in Iran was rescued by special forces Sunday morning local time, according to multiple U.S. officials. The second crew member, a weapons systems officer, was one of two people on board. Both airmen ejected. U.S. officials said the pilot of that aircraft was rescued Friday, a short time after Iranian forces downed the aircraft over western Iran. That pilot's condition has not yet been released. For more information on this breaking development tonight, we turn to CBS News national security coordinating producer James Laporta. He's a U.S. Marine veteran, infantryman, and veteran of the Afghanistan war. James, what are we learning right now about how this rescue mission came together and how the airman was ultimately brought to safety?
Yeah, so this was really a race against time. From the moment that F-15 went down, it was a race for U.S. forces to try to retrieve both pilots. And separately separate from this event, there was another plane that went down on Friday. We had an A-10 that was shot down. That pilot ejected and was rescued, and he is safe. But from the moment that this F-15 was shot down, it was a race. So combat search and rescue assets were launched, and they were able to recover the pilot of that F-15. However, they were not able to, as you pointed out, they were not able to rescue the weapons systems officer. The weapons systems officer, had been hiding with essentially no more than a pistol to defend himself for the last 48 hours. And so multiple U.S. military assets came into play, along with intelligence capabilities, cyber operations came into play, even our space assets came into play in order to rescue this American.
Have we been told anything about the crew member's condition right now?
Not at the moment. Only that they have been rescued. In terms of his status, we're not sure if all is safe and sound, or did he sustain any injuries, or so. I don't want to go too much into speculation on that, because all we know at this point is that he has been rescued.
Walk us through just how a search and rescue mission unfolds in a case like this.
Sure. So we have assets in the U.S. military that this is all they do is train for a combat search and rescue, or it's also known in some, for the Navy and the Marines, we will call this a trap mission, which is a tactical recovery of aircraft and personnel. But in this particular mission, one of the units that was really key in this was the Air Force pararescuemen. Air Force pararescuemen are sometimes known as the PJs, are special operation forces who are skilled not only in combat search and rescue, but are trained medical professionals. When I was in Afghanistan in 2009, serving with my Marines, it was the pararescuemen who who would swoop in Black Hawk helicopters and save the Marines that I was serving with. They are really, their motto is so that others may live. They are really a self-sacrificing service. So when U.S. forces get into trouble.
So what happens next? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So when U.S. forces get into trouble, U.S. Air Force pararescueman is really who you call. And so the moment that call goes out, immediate assets get launched, not only from the air, but separate from all that, a whole U.S. intelligence apparatus kicks in to geolocate you, to keep eyes on what potential enemy movements are. And that was the case at this point. There were Iranian forces moving into the area where this downed crew member was. So this was a very risky, very dangerous mission that could have really gone the wrong way. But thankfully, this person has been rescued.
Extremely risky. Now, we're looking ahead now. What happens next in this case? How significant is this rescue operation in the broader context of the war right now?
That's a great question. For the past couple of days, President Trump has been threatening more action. He did that just today regarding the Strait. We were, reading the tea leaves. There seemed to be even a further bombing escalation that was to occur. But it seems all of that perhaps was put on hold to really focus on this, to rescuing this pilot.
So what are commanders watching most closely now that this crew member was safely recovered? What are they watching?
So right now, I think, they're watching for what are the next. So they're watching sort of the the Iranian. What is the Iranian response? Is there going to be more retaliatory strikes? In the form of, Iran still possesses missile capabilities. They still possess drone capabilities. Despite the fact that, despite the sort of the bombing campaign that we've seen both from the U.S. and Israel air assets, they still possess the ability to strike back. So I think that's what is what we're watching for now.
And what kind of survival training do these crew members actually have when they do get ejected behind enemy lines the way they did in this case?
That's a great question. So air crews, particularly these pilots, are required as part of their training to go through what we call SEER school. SEER is an acronym that's Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. That school teaches you how to, when you are, subject to being, a downed aviator, teaches you how to survive.
I'm not gonna lie, being a downed aviator sounds wild, chat. Behind enemy lines, chat, that sounds crazy, chat. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, what? What? You just had to auto eject out of a damn fighter jet. Now you're behind enemy lines, got a bounty on your head, man. They put a bounty on him, man. That's crazy, bro. That's wild, bro. Like, that's literally a one in fuck, bro. Like 1 in billion chance. 1 in billion chance. 1 in 2 billion chance. That's crazy. That is crazy, Chad. We're 6 likes away from the next like button, Chad. We're 6 likes away from the next like. Go. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, man.
On your own, how to escape enemy forces. And if you are captured, how to survive in that environment as well. The schoolhouse itself actually teaches lessons learned from past prisoners of war, from World War II, and in particular from the Vietnam War, and how to survive in captivity if you are captured by enemy forces. So that is what that school is designed to teach aviators, if they are ever in this situation, is how to survive and how to evade. And unfortunately, if you are captured, how to survive in that environment as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that he was hiding with a pistol. Talk a little bit more about that and what that experience must have been like for him.
Got it on him, man. Listen, chat. He might only had 15 on him. He might only had, I don't even know what they carrying right now in the military, man. He had it on him though. It's crazy.
Yeah. So in the grand,
that's crazy, bro.
Scheme of things, when you have people coming after you with small arms, with AK-47s and things like that, a pistol is not much protection. And when I say all he had was a pistol, he also most likely did not have many rounds. So maybe anywhere between 15, maybe 30 rounds.
Nah, KC, the other pilot has been found. Both pilots have been found, KC. And that's what they're saying. See, it says second U.S. crew member from down jet rescued from Iran.
Speculation, but this aviator is not carrying a large amount of ammunition. Because that's not really their job. Their job is to, be the backseater in an F-15. So if all you have is a pistol and, maybe 2 magazines on you, that's not a lot of protection if you're facing down a force where they're carrying AK-47s and other small arms.
So we have this dramatic rescue. They have him. Where do they bring him next?
So the next thing he's going to go through is further echelon care. He's going to go through medical treatment regardless of his status. Because not only is it his physical care, it's mental care, right? There's a mental aspect to this that you were shot out of the sky and you've had to escape and evade for the past couple of days, right? So not only are they going to check him out medically in terms of his physical health, but also his mental health. The other thing is they're going to debrief him. So any sort of information they can gain that was learned that this pilot might have seen or heard on the ground, they'll do that too. So there's going to be an entire intelligence debriefing. There's also going to be, which I'm sure will be a very emotional moment, is there's going to be a notification to his family. And his family will learn of his status. And so that is sort of the next, most immediate steps, is really sort of taking care of the service member as best as the U.S. military can, given the ordeal that they've gone through the past 48 hours.
Certainly the best case scenario tonight from what we're hearing. Thank you so much, CBS News National Security Coordinating Producer James Laporta. We appreciate the information that you've brought us tonight. Once again, this was a breaking news update out of Iran. The second American crew member from the downed F-15E in Iran was rescued by special forces Sunday morning local time, according to multiple U.S. officials. The F-15 went down during combat operations early Friday morning. The pilot was recovered shortly after the crash, but the second crew member had been missing behind enemy lines, triggering an urgent U.S. military search effort.
Crazy.
But he's been found. Our coverage will continue on CBS News 24/7, your local news, and tomorrow on CBS Face the Nation. This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Carissa Lawson, CBS News, New York.
All right, Chad. We finna get into this last clip right here, then we're gonna get up out of here.
For millennia, the greatest empires in the world made the exact same fatal mistake. They marched onto the Iranian plateau with swords drawn, absolutely certain they could wipe this civilization off the face of the earth forever. The Macedonian phalanxes of Alexander the Great invaded here. Ruthless Roman legions marched here. Arab armies swept in under the banners of a new religion, and the ferocious Mongol hordes of Genghis Khan tore through, leaving behind nothing but towers of skulls. Any other nation would have vanished permanently after suffering such a catastrophic number of blows. They would have dissolved into the genetic and cultural melting pot of history, just as it happened with the Babylonians, the Hittites, or the Assyrians. But with Iran, something entirely inexplicable took place. Time and time again, despite losing on the battlefield, losing their capitals, and enduring occupation, the Iranians did something no one else in the world could do. They absorbed their conquerors. Just a few decades would pass.
Nah, this ain't religious Southern breed. This is the history of Iran. This is the history of Iran.
And the brutal invaders would begin speaking the Persian language, building Persian architecture, adopting their state bureaucracy, and even wearing their clothes. Again and again, the East essentially digested the West and the nomads. How has Iran managed, from antiquity right up to the present day, to force every major world power?
Nah, Jeb, I just got some shit to do. Jeb, how about that? Jeb, you know, I got some shit to do.
To reckon with it? How did they preserve their identity? And how did it happen that Great Persia, a country with a 5,000-year history, voluntarily abandoned its legendary name, forcing the entire world to call it Iran? This is the story of how a single nation invented the concept of time we live in today, turned geopolitics into a holy war between light and dark, and learned how to lose battles in order to ultimately win eternity. To understand the depth of this civilization, we need to rewind time far back. Traditionally, the Western world considers Mesopotamia, meaning Sumer and Babylon, or ancient Egypt, to be the cradle of civilization. In this worldview, Iran is often sidelined, and that is a massive historical injustice. Evolution took its natural course here. 50,000 years ago, Neanderthals dominated.
Here we go with the evolution shit again, man. Chat, do you believe in evolution, chat? Yes or no in the chat. Do you believe in evolution, man? Hit the like button, chat. Double tap the screen, shut the live out. We're 20 subscribers away from the next sub goal, too. We got to get the likes up. Do you believe in evolution?
These lands, only to be replaced by Cro-Magnons 36,000 years ago. But the real revolution began later. Archaeologists have discovered urban-type settlements on Iranian territory, like the Jiroft culture and the Sialk ziggurat, dating back 6,000 to 7,000 years. Ceramic vessels from the 4th millennium before Christ irrefutably prove one of the oldest civilizations on the planet evolved right here, standing shoulder to shoulder with Mesopotamia and China. The first major geopolitical player in these lands was Elam, a state in the southwest of modern Iran with its capital in the city of Susa. The Elamites were so powerful that by the 26th century before Christ, they were practically dictating their will to the Sumerians. But the most mind-blowing event happened in the 23rd century.
I'm going to just say, man, where's the missing link, chat? If evolution still has the missing link has never been found. I'm just going to be honest with you, chat. The missing link has never been found. So evolution isn't for us human beings. Isn't just confirmed. Because they haven't found the missing link. They've been looking for this missing link for how long?
Before Christ, when the Akkadian king Naram Sin went to war with Elam, the conflict didn't end with a simple truce. A written treaty was signed. It guaranteed Elam's independence on the condition that they aligned their foreign policy with Akkad. Think about that. This is the first documented international treaty in human history. The Iranian space stood at the very origins of global diplomacy. Genetically, however, the Elamites were closer to the people of Mesopotamia. The people we call Iranians today arrived here later. Sometime between the 20th and 15th centuries before Christ, nomadic tribes began descending onto this mountainous plateau from the north.
No, I know, right? But you're saying humans a million years from now would be very different and shit. But I'm saying evolution from monkeys. When I'm saying evolution, man, y'all know what don't try to move the goalposts. I'm saying y'all saying we can look at evolution and see in the dogs, and man, I'm talking about from monkeys, man. From monkeys. Y'all know what the hell I was talking about. I shouldn't have to say it. Did humans come from monkeys? And where's the missing link?
From the steppes of Central Asia and the Caucasus. They belonged to the giant family of Indo-European nations, representing its distinct...
Hey, look at Jeff says marijuana is a gateway drug. Got George Floyd. Cocaine is a gateway drug. Got Hunter Biden. How about that?
Indo-Iranian branch. Amazingly, their ancient language was a direct relative.
Hey, I should have said Don Jr.
Latin, Greek, and the languages spoken across all of Europe today, including English and Spanish. Settling on these lands, they began calling themselves Aryans, meaning noble, and named their new homeland Arianem Veja, the land of the Aryans. Over time, this word morphed into the familiar name we know as Iran. They mixed with the ancient culture of Elam and split into powerful alliances, the most famous of which became the Medes and the Persians. It was right here, in these harsh mountains and deserts, that the primary weapon of the Iranians was...
Here we go. Dude, we literally share the same DNA with them. We share the same DNA as a fucking banana, too. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we share DNA with a bunch of shit.
Born. It was not chariots, nor was it special bows. It was ideology. Long before the emergence of Christianity and Islam, a religion was born on the Iranian plateau that turned human consciousness upside down, Zoroastrianism. For the ancient Iranian, life was not simply a series of meaningless accidents or a cyclical changing of seasons. The universe was perceived as the battlefield of a total, uncompromising war between Ahura Mazda, the transcendent god of light, truth, and order, and Ahriman, the spirit of absolute evil, lies, and darkness. And most importantly, Zoroastrianism clearly mapped the geography of this evil. The realm of darkness was considered to be the nomadic expanse of Eurasia, Turan, from which devastating raids were constantly launched. To be Iranian meant to be a warrior of light. Their entire culture, poetry...
All right. See, this is where we go. I'm going to have to end up... Damn, man, I wasn't going... It is the weekend. Oh, we have to do a panel tomorrow, chat. We have to do a panel tomorrow. But listen, some of y'all are saying that we evolved from monkeys and orangutans and apes and shit, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Some of y'all might have. You know, some of y'all might have. Hey, I'm not here to debate whether you came from a monkey, you came from an orangutan. You know, maybe you fucking did. I don't know. It sounds like something personal. You know, if you want to be in here and say, fight to say that you came from a monkey, by all means, you with your monkey ass then. Carry your monkey ass on then, shit. I didn't.
Tree and statehood were built on the idea of actively assisting the forces of good. This concept gave the nation phenomenal unity. But Zoroastrianism did something even more massive. This tradition was the first in history to declare time does not move in a circle. Time is linear. The world had a beginning, creation, and it will have an inevitable end. A final battle between light and dark, a purification of the world by fire, and a last judgment. How did this idea conquer the world? When the Persians conquered Babylon in the 6th century before Christ, they liberated the Jews who were languishing there in captivity. Judea became a province of the Persian Empire for 2 centuries. During this period of close contact, Jewish thinkers adopted from the Zoroastrians the culture of anticipating the end of times, linear time, and the final judgment. Later, this doctrine flowed into Christianity and Islam. Prominent philosophers, including Friedrich Nietzsche acknowledged that Iran played the key role in discovering linear time, the coordinates within which we still think today. The first truly great state of the...
Y'all didn't like that carry your monkey ass on, did you? I knew that shit was gonna hit hard, chat. When I was getting ready to say it, I just knew it was gonna hit so hard, man. Like, shit, if you came from some monkeys with shit, carry your monkey ass on there. More power to your monkey ass. Shit, it is what it is, man.
The Aryans was Media, formed in 670 before Christ. The Medes did not last long, but they managed to destroy the formidable Assyrian Empire. Their hegemony was cut short by their own relatives, the Persians. In 550 before Christ, a man named Cyrus the Great, half Persian, half Mede, united his two peoples, the tribes of the Persians and the Medes. Out of this union, he began building what historians would call the Achaemenid Empire, the first superpower in history. Cyrus was different from the tyrants of the past. When conquering Lydia, the Greek city-states of Asia Minor, or Babylon, he did not destroy their temples, nor did he enslave their populations. He built an empire.
Hey, Tony. The first time I heard Joe Rogan intro on his little clips channels, bro, it fucked me up, bro. Like, and then I started watching him, and it's like every time a new clip come on, you hear that little. I'm not gonna do it because I refuse to let YouTube have a clip of me doing some shit like that, Tony. I'm just not gonna do it, bro. They wouldn't let me live it down. That'd be the one time a clip of me goes viral. Me doing some shit like the Joe Rogan intro, but y'all know what the fuck he be doing on there, man, and it tripped me out every time I hear it.
Empire on respect. His successor, Darius I, expanded the borders from Egypt to the Indus Valley. Nearly 50 million people, half the population of the earth at that time, lived under Persian rule. Darius divided the country into 20 administrative districts called satrapies, introduced a unified tax system, minted gold coins known as darics, and laid down a network of roads along which the fastest state postal service in the world raced. But history does not forgive weakness. In an attempt to secure the empire from the nomadic darkness, Cyrus the Great ventured into Central Asia.
Man, all right, chat. It's over with, man. Damn, what do I need to do the phone lines, man? It's just, we just gonna read chat for a minute, man. We're gonna read chat for a minute, chat. We done with that damn clip. We at 3 hours, chat. We gonna hang out for a little second, man. I'm gonna take some questions and just hang out for a second before we get out of here. We'll do a panel tomorrow for sure. We'll do the panel tomorrow. Tony, I see you say we need a panel tonight. We definitely need a panel tonight, but I got some shit to do. You know what I'm saying? I got some shit to do. Jeb, if you got a woman around you, I just know she can't stand you, Jeb, because the way you be in here antagonizing me, bro, like, I just know if you got a woman, she just hates you, bro. Like, she just hates you. That's what I'm saying, bro. I know when you go to work, people stop talking when you walk around. Like, Jeb is the kind of guy that at work, you know, at the job, when everybody in the break room, Jeb walks in, everybody just gets quiet. All conversation stops when Jeb comes around. You know, hey, shut the fuck up, man. There go Jeb ass, man. You know how his ass get. Man, Jeb work today, man. I'm gonna call in, man. Jeb work today, man. I ain't working with Jeb ass. Working with Jeb ass, man. I can tell, man. Hey, man, who making the schedule next week, man? Don't put me on the schedule with Jeb ass, man. Take me off the schedule with Jeb, man. I can't stand dude, man. He always doing too fucking much, man. You ain't off the schedule with dude, bro. I'm telling you, I'll fuck around, lose my job, man. Damn, man, get me off the schedule with jail, bro. Shit, man. Crazy, man, for real, chat. Like, damn. That shit's crazy. All right now, Sweet Tea. All right now, Sweet Tea. You have a blessed night too, Sweet Tea. That's crazy, man, chat. I had some people like that I work with, chat. One time I was at work, right? And my job used to always order Cracker Barrel, right? They used to always order Cracker Barrel, but they'll order like they have it catered with like the whole pans of bacon and the whole pans of sausage, the pancakes and the waffles and shit. And one day, bro, I was working the early shift, right? So boom, when second shift come in, it's lunchtime. So I'm still working. I ain't took my lunch yet. You know, I'm trying to get caught up and get ahead so I can go take my lunch, come back, you know, whatever. So they come tell me like, hey, plug, you know, you go fix your plate, you know, the food here and shit. I'm like, all right, bet, give me a second. I'm gonna go fix my plate. So boom. By this time, second shift coming in. And it's this big I don't like dude, man. I was really mad at him for a long time about that. But yeah, he come in, you know, and I guess he fixed his plate. So now I get my shit together, put up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to the break room. I go in there, chat, and I look, and there's no bacon left. I'm like, damn, where y'all put the bacon and shit at? Chat, this man had the whole fucking pan of bacon. Swear, chat. I mean, when I tell you the Cracker Barrel pan, chat, like the whole pan of bacon, bro. The whole pan. He had the whole pan. He didn't have a sausage on his plate, no eggs, no hash browns, no pancake. He had like I'm talking about a pile of bacon on his fucking plate so tall, bro. The whole pan, chat. Man, I was so fucking mad at him. I looked, I'm not gonna say his name on here. I said, bro, you took all the fucking bacon? You know what he did, Chad? He gonna get the laughing. I think he was a little off, man. I think he might have been a little off. He like, hey, I like bacon. I said, man, it ain't no fucking way. Chad, I almost went off in there, bro. Like I did, and this girl, she's like, plug, you can have some of my bacon, man. I looked at her fucking plate. I'm like, you got 2 pieces of bacon. You got 2. Listen, he didn't even offer me none of the bacon, chat. Didn't even offer me none of the bacon. He got a whole fucking pan of bacon on his plate, bro. No sides, no nothing else. Nothing else, chat. Nothing. Straight bacon, bro. She offered me a slice of her bacon. The other dude over here, my partner, well, he ain't my partner. I was cool with him at work and shit. He like, man, you got some of my bacon, plug. He got like 4 pieces of bacon. So out of 6 pieces of bacon, how many do you think I'm gonna get? Then they already done picked the bacon up. I really don't want it off your plate. So at this point, I'm pissed. I'm like, man, I don't even want that bacon, man. Fuck, you gonna give me a piece of bacon? You gonna give me a piece of bacon? All right, I got a little bacon now. No, I don't want. This dude got a whole fucking pan of bacon, man. Talk crazy to him, Chad. So he come to work the next day trying to be all, you know, cool and shit. He brought what the fuck did he bring? He brought some shit to work. I think he brought some sodas or something to work. Put them on the table and shit. Like, y'all can have those, you know, I brought it for... Man, you just ate a whole fucking pan of bacon, bro. What is to you, bro? What? I was mad as fuck, bro. I was mad at him, bro. I was mad, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was mad, bro. I was hot, bro. I was mad at him for a long time. He never worked the same after I went off on him about that bacon either, chat. He never worked the same, bro. Real talk. He never worked the same, bro. He was about done with the job after I went off on him. He was about done with it. I was like, damn, bro, like, I low key, I took shots at his like people and how he was raised and everything. I told him like, damn, bro, like nobody fucking raised you right. Like, golly, you don't have no home training, bro. Like, you come in here, you haven't worked a fucking minute yet, Chad. That's the thing. He hadn't even been on the clock. He took the whole pan of bacon fresh from outside. Like, you just clocked in. No, you haven't even clocked in yet, because I haven't went on break yet. When I go on break, he clocks in. He's waiting to clock in and ate the whole fucking pan of bacon, bro. Man, I went off, bro. I'm talking about the boy talk crazy to him, bro, about how he was raised and everything. Rob Burrow says, "Why do you have to use your profanity and sound so effing stupid?" Because it's my mouth, Rob. Rob Earl, I'm gonna ask you, if you have some kids, go tell them what to do. Rob Earl, 3976, man. Yeah. YouTube police and shit, man. Get out, man. Debbie Downers and party poopers, man. Get out. I'm about tired of dealing with y'all, man. Shit ain't C-SPAN. Yeah. Yeah, I was mad at him about that, Chad. But yeah, man, what else happened on the job? Chat, y'all let me know what's the craziest, where did you work when the craziest workplace incident happened to you? What kind of job did you work? What industry did you work when the craziest workplace incident happened to you? Good night, Jib. I remember one time, chat. All right. We used to have trucks pull up, right? Like supply trucks. I'm talking about the whole joint. I'm talking about whole truck full. Like, shit, it's gonna take a couple hours to unload this truck for sure, for sure. So I used to unload all the trucks. You know, that was kind of part of my job. You know, I worked in the back. I was in the lab, but I also had to unload the trucks and shit. So by this time I had got promoted, right? So when I got promoted, production kind of got to see how like I was carrying some weight back there. Like, look, man, y'all didn't have to go find nobody to unload the trucks when I worked back there. You know, I'm glad I got the raise, and I'm glad I got out of there, but now it's a little struggle. So boom. They got whoever was supposed to work back there that they called in. So they had the supervisor. He wasn't supervisor at the time. I think he was team lead. Or was he supervisor? Was he supervisor? Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think he was supervisor. All right, so yeah, he's supervisor. Now he got to work, you know, a different position to cover for somebody. Same day, the truck coming. You know what I'm saying? Truck coming. So they called this other dude in. He kind of like a new hire. He probably been there like a couple months, maybe going on 3. But I know him from the real world. Like before work and shit. And he come in to help. He come in to help on the truck. They asked him to come in to help on the truck. Whole time it's raining, chat. So he walked, I'm going to say it's like a solid 25, 30-minute walk, man. Like if you just walking or if you briskly walking, about 20, 25, 30 minutes, depending on how you walk. So he walked that far in the rain to help him unload the truck, right? Nobody offered to go get him and pick him up or nothing. He just did that like it was his day off. Went up there to help him with the truck. So the truck get here, right? And at this time, I'm not production anymore, so I can't touch anything because I gotta check it. I gotta check over all the work. I'm in quality assurance. So I'm watching them unload the truck. I'm doing the damn paperwork, the documents with the BOL and all of this shit. And I see the supervisor, he's not working. He just sitting there, you know, kind of, he done shit stop working. So the dude that they called that came in, he unloading this shit. So he look at him like, hey, look, man, I came up here to help, not unload the truck. And the other dude, the supervisor's like, man, this ain't even my job. He like, man, I just walked 30 minutes over here in the rain. Nobody offered me a job. Offered me a ride. I'm not finna do this shit by myself. And the supervisor get the bucking back. Man, he threw them gloves off. He was like, so what you trying to do? Come on out here. And Chad, when I tell you, man, I wanted to see them fight so bad, but they didn't. I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to see that fight. Yeah, it was going down over there. But he was wrong for that, man, having that man walk all the way up there and then not helping him with the truck. Crazy. Way crazy. Oh, you said, why did I want to see him fight? Because they always talk like they could. Both of them used to talk like they wasn't going, like they was just whooping shit. And then one of them was lying, because one of them was telling me, one day one of them came to work and was like, yeah, you remember when the dude that I said I knew from outside, he was like, man, you remember when I whooped such and such? And because he was talking to somebody at work, he was like, man, you remember when I whooped such and such? And I had to think about it, bro, and I was like, damn, you did fight him. And that's all I said. Because I remember, like, you definitely did not whoop him, bro. Like, you almost got whooped, but you didn't really get whooped, but you damn near got whooped. But for sure you didn't whoop him. And yeah, that shit was funny. So I wanted to see him fight. I ain't gonna lie, because they was both talking shit. Like, they wasn't going. Yeah, they was talking shit like they wasn't going. You said you worked as a CO and saw a guy who got a lock and a sock to the forehead, and you could see the combination numbers in his skin, a big dent in his skull. Damn. Okay, enjoy your workout, Miss Bones. Cave this shit in. Damn, I wouldn't want to see that. But yeah, we about to get up out of here too tonight, chat. Man, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Double tap the screen on your way out. We had a great live stream, and we'll be back on tomorrow, chat. We'll do a panel tomorrow too. Good night, chat.